Yeehaw! I'm here with my brother Daniele Bolelli, one of the few men who can pull off a yin-yang bandana like some renegade biker on an episode of Grey's Anatomy. Look at that fucking thing. But you fucking balance it out with a Frank Frazetta Conan the Barbarian t-shirt. That shirt is the shit. Where'd you pick that up?
Man, I was looking all over the place for it, and I found it through they probably had it for like some old comic book store a million years ago, and I picked it up.
That's a dope shirt. I might have to hide that one from my wife because she'd probably try to throw it out.
Why?
I don't know. You know how women are, man.
Come on, this contains everything that's good in life.
Maybe it's time to grow up. Maybe you shouldn't have a comic book guy on your shirt. It's not a fucking comic book. It's a novel. Robert E. Howard. He wrote a series of novels. It's about Conan the Barbarian. People don't know.
That's
they don't
like
know.
My entire life philosophy is based on Conan the Barbarian. Like everything else is commentary.
You can get in trouble for that kind of philosophy,
Really?
sir.
I don't understand.
But Crom's a good god
Crom is an excellent god.
because he doesn't give a fuck.
No, it's
He's not
awesome.
here to help you.
Nope.
Not going to save you.
No, it's that's the beauty of the Conan thing. It's very real. You know,
Yeah.
It's like, hey, life is tough. Deal the fuck with it because that's the way it's going to be. Yeah, there are horrible things that can happen. Yeah, there's no guarantees about the afterlife. Yeah, all of that. But hey, in the meantime, there are women, there's red wine, there's enemies to be killed. What more do you want?
Probably parasites, all sorts of weird diseases nobody's ever diagnosed yet.
Yeah, that part is the less pleasant
if
one.
you're lucky, you live to 30. It's kind of amazing when they keep finding these new species of people.
Uh-huh.
You know, there was they had this article yesterday where they've examined the teeth of the Hobbit people on the island of Flores, and so now they're like 99.9% positive. It's 100%. Not 99.9% positive, it's 100%, but 99.9% positive that it's a completely different species of human being. They found the teeth of these things. And you got to think, like, that's only like 14,000 years ago,
Yep.
you know? And we don't even remember those things.
Mm-hmm.
They've sort of become like this weird little legend. Like, how many different versions of people were out there, and what a hard Scrabble life it must have been.
Yeah, extinction is the name of the game. I mean, when you think about it, like the overwhelming majority of species that have ever been around, they've all gone extinct.
Yeah, more than 90%, right?
Yep. So it's that's my point.
Yeah.
Conan is the truth.
Yeah, with bear claws around his neck.
Yep.
That's a fucking awesome picture.
Yeah, that's why I have it in my house as a poster.
Yeah.
I'm mildly obsessed. You may.
I have a bunch of his old books, Frazetta's old books,
Yeah.
like sketchbooks and books that are collections of his paintings. And God, that kind of art that he did was just so indicative of that time. It's like so 1970s fantasy art, you know? Those days, man. You know what? No one has really captured it correctly in a movie. They just have not done it right.
You didn't dig the first one?
Nah.
No? You didn't
It
like
was
that one?
fun. It was campy. But it was more like the comic book than it was like the books. I think Jason Momoa was the best version of Conan physically. The way
Sure.
he looked.
Just the screenwriting was
Dog
Yeah,
shit.
that was painful.
That movie was dog shit.
I
But that
like
guy's
the-
awesome. I love that Jason Momoa.
Oh, he's
guy.
great. In Game of Thrones, he was
Fuck
kick-ass.
yeah. He seemed like the most likely Conan. Might have to get him on the juice, though.
Well, there's that too,
Might have
but
to get him on some fucking heavy-duty powerlifting program.
where he is
Yeah.
ripped too.
Yeah, he's got to look a little more yoked because Conan was just supposedly ridiculously
Yeah.
impressive as a person.
Yeah, and in fact, when they put Arnold as the first one, that's kind of
Yeah.
high. That sets the bar pretty damn
Yeah.
high right away.
But Arnold was built incorrectly. He had all these unnecessary muscles,
Sure.
like big
Yeah.
titty muscles.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you need a guy who's built more like Yoel Romero, like a barbarian Yoel Romero
Right.
with a sword.
It was basically me, just
I
exactly
was
like me.
gonna say that, but you're here, and I
Right.
don't want you to feel embarrassed.
It's okay. It's okay. I can accept compliments. It's fine.
So tell me about your book, man. Not Afraid, on fear, heartbreak, raising a baby girl, and cage fighting. That's an unusual combination of things.
Well, that's what makes it interesting. No, I mean, to me, this was all the stuff I've written so far was kind of more philosophical in nature.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bit more personal. This is very much my life. It's sort of divided up in three parts. The first part is about dealing with fear in martial arts. And it's kind of like my experience of constantly testing the boundaries, getting crushed, try again, find a way to make it deal with that scaring feeling of when you have somebody coming at you who has been training for the last few years and want to take your head off, and you're like, shit, this is a little intimidating. There's all the pressure, people watching you, the idea of getting if you fuck up, getting physically dominated by another man, which is never a fun feeling, that kind of shit. And so that's that part. But then to me, that part just serves as a springboard for the other stuff, which is, well, that's great when you're on the mat, when you're in the cage for that stuff, but what about the rest of life? And in this case, part 2 deals with what happened with my wife, very quick, get a little sick, and all of a sudden, what the fuck is going on? Your body starts falling apart, diagnosed with brain tumor, dead within 6 months from the time the first symptom came up. So it was really quick, really harsh, and all the stuff that you may imagine with that. And then the part 3 is sort of, okay, now what? What do I do with it now? And life afterwards, when my wife died, my daughter was 19 months old. All this shit was happening, as you may imagine. And so it's like, in some way, these 3 elements kind of go together. It's like the martial art part was sort of a warm-up in terms of learning some things that then I would have to apply on a much bigger, more important scale in day-to-day life. And then, when shit hits the fan, and then afterwards, how that changes my attitude about things, my life overall. And it's like when I was talking with publishers, originally they wanted a nice, pretty arc where you start out as this scared wimp, and then you discover the secrets, and then you come back and you're this fearless guy who will go through life without fear. And that's bullshit. I mean, I like to sell it that way. That would sound cool, but I'm not in the business of bullshitting myself or anybody else. So I'm like, it's not the 7 steps to getting rid of fear. It's not that stuff. It's because to me, my experience of dealing with fear is a fucking constant battle. It's like you wake up one day and maybe you learn to deal with it 0.01% better, and that's a win. And then the next day it hits you again and you have to deal with it again. Like for me in particular, what happened is the reality of realizing that everything is fleeting, everything can be taken away from you, everything you care about can go in the snap of a finger. That really freaked me out. That is one thing to know it intellectually, is one thing when it hits home for real. And so once in a while, I'll have my days when I'm totally fine, I feel strong, I feel great, and then all of a sudden it will hit me when the paralyzing thought of, man, everybody I love will die. I have limited control of what's going to happen in my life. Everything I care about can be taken away from me in a second. Shit, welcome to your day. Now deal with the next 24 hours. It's like, it's heavy. And so dealing with that aspect, finding ways to, and then I find a way to do it. And then a month later will hit you again. And maybe because you found a way to do it before, it hits you a little less. But
don't you think that's everybody? I mean, there's no one. There's a false narrative that someone's figured out how to get rid of fear. It doesn't exist.
Exactly.
If you have no fear, that means that you're not experiencing any danger or anything unknown. And somehow or another, you're immortal.
Yep.
Because if you think about the consequences of death, you're going to get nervous. You're going to get afraid. If you're taking any sort of risks or chances, you're going to get nervous. It's part of being a person. It's part of what's fun about getting things done and succeeding is knowing all the mental roadblocks that are in place to keep you from being successful.
Big time. And that's why I completely agree with you. They affect everybody. So to me, this is just, this is my experience, but it's not that I have any illusion that I'm fighting battles that are unknown to other people. Because the reality is that everybody has shit to deal with in their own life,
Yeah.
Everybody has horrible things happen to them. Everybody, and horrible may vary from one person to the next. You may be slightly luckier than the next guy, but the reality is that everybody deal with it. So the question of how do you deal with it? What are the things that help you get the job done, and which ones?
That's one of the great things about martial arts is that dealing with the fear and the pressure and stress of training it helps mitigate some of the pressures and stresses of everyday life.
That's why, when I went to some publishers initially, they were like, hold your wife, life after, we got that part, but what the fuck does martial art have to do with it? And I'm like, this has everything to do with it, because those are the same dynamics, but I get to train them in a safe space in a martial art contest, and then you apply them to the real game on the bigger scale in life.
And it's a controlled space in terms of it's going to happen at 8:30 on Tuesday night.
Exactly.
You get in there, it's like you can prepare for it, you eat for it, you make sure you have your meal digested in your stomach before you get there, you have a cup of coffee before you get to the gym, you stretch out, you prepare yourself, and then you go through it. But in doing that, it definitely helps. I've had so many Twitter messages and Facebook messages and people that I meet after shows that told me that they started jiu-jitsu after listening to this podcast and it changed their life and that it helps them so much and deal with pressure and now in pursuing a healthy lifestyle. Like even guys like Anthony Bourdain, who was in his 50s.
Yep.
I believe he was 58 when he started jiu-jitsu.
58.
57 or 58. He was a lifetime smoker, heroin user, like pretty much like abused everything, alcohol, everything. Now is way more healthy. He's off, I talked to him, off statins, off of high blood pressure medication, lost 30 pounds just from training, eats healthy, still likes to party it up a little bit, smoke a little weed, get a little booze on, but the guy looks great. He looks great, and he's obsessed with jiu-jitsu, and he loves it, and it sort of transformed his life. His wife is a phenom.
Yeah, I saw.
Octavia, she's a beast. She trains every day.
Yep.
I mean, she's essentially, that's her life. Her life is training. She loves it. And it just got him. It got him. She said that she talked him into doing it by promising him narcotics, which is one of the most hilarious stories ever. She said, like, if you come to train with me, I'll give you some Vicodin.
I'll hook you up.
I'm in.
Nice.
And so... Well, he's one of the few guys that has been like a self-professed junkie, but was not only able to kick it, but still will get high, still drink, and obviously doesn't have a problem.
Right.
He's very healthy. Doesn't do anything when he's at home. When he's on the road and he's filming a show and the filming's done, he'll have a few drinks or even while filming. But it's not like he's got a problem. He definitely doesn't have a problem. Yeah. I've hung out with him. He's healthy.
Hey, that's as good as it gets. Then you get to party without paying the price.
But it's amazing because everybody has this idea, or most people that are in recovery, that you can't do anything.
Right.
There's very few people I know that will do something. Like I know a few guys who had alcohol problems will smoke a little pot, but or do little mushrooms every now and then or something like that. But he's one of those guys that he'll do everything other than the heroin.
Well, I mean, if you can, that I think is everybody's psychology is different. Like some people, once they open the door a tiny bit, they can tell. It's like, then I need to open it all the way. I can't fucking stop. Then if you know you're that kind of person, then don't open it a tiny bit. Then you shouldn't. But if you are not, then what the hell is wrong with enjoying a little bit if you can, It really, I think it depends person to person. Some people can do that. Other people have to go cold turkey or they can't.
Yeah, that's definite. That's definitely true. It's just cool to see someone do something positive. Always is, because it gives you like inspiration is a real fuel for human beings.
Oh,
and when you see your friends or someone that you like and they're doing something that's really transforming them and helping them, it fires you up too.
Yeah, I'm like the biggest wimp. Every time I see the cheesiest inspirational video, I start crying like a baby. I'm like, that is so moving. It's like every single time,
Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm such a bitch. I'm such a bitch. I don't cry over sad shit that much though. It's weird.
I know. But
like my cat died, I didn't cry. I've had her for 19 years. I didn't cry. I felt bad.
Right.
I felt sad, but I felt like, well, she lived a great life and she was a cool cat. And, but it's not like if something cool happens. If something cool happens, I'm like, wow,
Yeah, I have the same thing, but it's like, I think Crom would kick us out of Valhalla. We would be like, come on, you cry for that? What a bitch.
Where does Crom hang out? He's not in Valhalla. Does he have another? He has a different place, right? I forget where it is.
Not sure. They mix it up a little, so their cosmology is a little, they play it loose, but...
Yeah, I don't remember where Crom hung out.
The core is probably severe human heads. And
some guy was giving me a hard time on Twitter the other day, and just for a goof, like his spelling was so atrocious. I was like, oh my God, what is this guy into? Like, I love it when people get mad at me over it. Was like a Ted Cruz post that he got mad at me over. So I went to his Twitter page, and I I was just reading these posts about him looking up into the heavens, wondering what God is like living in the clouds. Like, this motherfucker's serious. Like, dude, you could drive a fucking plane through the clouds, asshole. All right. There's nothing up there. Okay, that shit was back when people didn't have planes.
That's right.
Now that we have planes, you can't say that God's right up there, man, in the clouds. No. Fucking Southwest is up there. They're going right through the clouds with a jet. They're giving out free peanuts. You fucking dickhead.
If you look real careful while you're eating your peanuts, you may see God ducking, trying to avoid the planes.
God damn it. These Ted Cruz motherfuckers are scary. They got a little victory under their belt in Iowa, and they're doubling down on the Bible readings.
That's scary to me. I mean, it's like
that fucking guy.
The Democratic Party sucks, but the Republican Party has gone so far off the deep end that it's just downright nuts.
Well, did you ever see that? I tweeted a quote the other day from Barry Goldwater, where Barry Goldwater, back in the 50s, had recognized that there was an issue with preachers and ministers and getting involved in the Republican Party, that they would ruin it.
I know, that's the scary thing, is that you go back 50 years to the guys who were considered nutcases back in the day, and they would be considered moderate centrists today. They would be like, oh, Barry Goldwater, what a reasonable voice, It's like,
well, he was the one that was warning against it.
Right. No, exactly. That's what I mean. It's like he had some positions that were a bit on the extreme end, but he also had a bunch of others that were very, very reasonable, where it made sense, And today he would be seen as a fucking liberal, look at that guy.
Yeah. It's these are strange times where it's kind of strange because this is the most advanced as far as our ability to access information. It's never been like this before. And as far as our ability to access studies and find out the actual real scientific facts about certain things. But this is like, it's more important now to profess a love or a belief in God when you're running for president, I think, than ever. Than ever. You have to say it. Like, everybody has to say it.
Yeah, there's never been once a guy who could just skirt the question and not discuss it. You have to go in and say,
do you believe what I believe or not?
Exactly.
Do you believe what I believe? Because I'm about to give you a vote. I want to make sure. Like, whoa.
Man, it's like, I try to stay away from all the political discussions because there's no point. Within about 0.1 second, it becomes, fuck you, and it's just, there's not even a...
Yeah.
There's not even I get it. If we disagree, there's controversy. Okay, that can be fun. That can be interesting. Hell, we can even learn some stuff from each other. But that's not even that point. It's just pure, crazy, extremist insults back and forth. And I'm like,
This is my all-time favorite election. All time. Because it's the stupidest.
Yeah, this is
It's
bizarre.
the shittiest choices. The least inspired candidates. This is the best one for me. This is the best.
That's the Dan Carlin thing. He had a whole show going on about how happy he was that Donald Trump was in the race for entertainment factor. And also because he was making a good point, because he said, look, like in the primaries, for example, in the Republican primaries, the game is you have to go 0.1 millimeter more conservative than the next guy to win the primaries, but you don't want to go too far because otherwise you lose the general election. And you have Trump who steps in and he goes like 20 yards past everybody else, and so everybody else is like, shit, if I don't follow him, I lose the primary, but if I follow him, I'm done in the general. So it's so that was having a blast with that. He was laughing his ass off.
Which episode is that?
It's a Common Sense episode, one of the maybe after the first Republican debate. That's what it was.
Oh God, I gotta go listen to that.
And it's true. I mean, that's the way it is.
Well, Donald Trump has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he really wants to be president. I really don't think he does, and I think that's why he's so outrageous.
Right.
But I think along the way he's kind of fucked himself, because this is what people have been asking for. People for the longest time have wanted someone. Believe him or don't believe him. Agree with him or don't agree with him. He's speaking his mind.
Right.
What he's saying because he doesn't give a fuck.
There's no filter whatsoever.
Well, he's talking about Mexicans. Well, someone's doing the raping.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I know,
This guy's running for president. And he's talking about putting a wall up, like some fucking Berlin Wall up between us and Mexico. Like, holy shit, man.
That seems reasonable, does it? It's like, fuck, man.
We're gonna let over the rapists.
Yeah.
Well, there's no rapists. Well, someone's doing the raping. Someone's doing the raping.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
There was I don't half of the things you read you can check, like it's maybe an Onion site, or it's hard to keep track of which ones are the real ones and which ones are the bullshit ones, because they are so similar. That's the problem, that you can't tell the difference. There was one where they asked him something about what does it take to make America great again, and he ran through this whole speech where he's clearly not answering. He's running around just throwing words out that have nothing to do with the question, and then it ends with him going like, "Oh, look at the guy with the red hat. Please stand up. That's an awesome hat." It like completely distracted. Like, I'm gonna leave this question because I don't want to deal with it.
Look at the guy with the red hat stand up. That's an awesome. Yeah, well, he's a good media man.
Yeah,
he's very good at. He's been doing interviews for years, and he's also been on that reality show for a long time. He got fired from it while running for this, election because of the inflammatory stuff he said about Mexicans.
No, it's. But I agree with you. This is entertaining. It passed the point of being sad to the point that it's entertaining. That's why I would dig a general election, Trump against Sanders, because at that point it's just so wild and weird that it's enjoyable. If you get, the professional guys where like they measure every single statement, the Hillary Clinton, it's boring. You can write already every single speech. You know already what's going to happen, right? So with some of these guys, you have no idea what the hell is going to come out of their mouth. It makes it for, hey, at least I get to watch something that doesn't put me to sleep there.
Well, you want to talk about put me to sleep. Hillary Clinton puts me to sleep.
Oh, yeah. Big
God,
time.
there's nothing inspiring about what she's saying. Nothing inspiring about her presence or her speeches. But I think my 7-year-old daughter said it best. She goes, "I would vote for her because she's a girl." Like that's a lot of people feel like that.
I know.
They're like, fuck it. We had a black man. Let's have a white girl.
Right. But it's like, maybe you can pick somebody. Okay, sure, you want that. Pick somebody better. Jesus.
Who's better? Elizabeth Warren?
No, I know.
She's not in anymore, right? She dropped out. But when she was running, they found out that she wasn't really Native American. She tried to fake that she was Native. Would she get a scholarship or something for that?
I think that's what it was. The drama of the whole.
You can't fake. That's one thing you can't fake. You can fake like you're 1/8 Swedish.
Right.
They won't give you a hard time about it.
Yeah.
But if you say you're 1/8 Native American, it turns out, no, that's fucking Native American is like noble and mystical, and you have like magic fucking eagle powers, so you can hear like a wolf.
Isn't that trippy? If you watch all the pre-1960s movies, they were all like bad Indians who come in to scalp you and chop your head off. Why? Because they're Indians. Who the fuck knows why? It's like the dragon in the story, right? Post-1960s is all hug the furry creatures of the forest, have visions. And it's
you know what it was? It was that guy in the commercial that cried when he saw the garbage on the ground.
Oh,
that's what it was.
And incidentally, that guy too was not Indian.
He was Italian.
Exactly.
How fucked up is that? That guy in that commercial where the Indians crying because white men are littering.
Yeah.
But we from the 60s on, we've sort of associated Native Americans with like spiritual things, like dream catchers and this guy. That guy's a guinea. He's from fucking the same island as me. Look at him. He's in his canoe. He's seeing that. Pick it up, you fuck. You're driving right past it. You don't have to just look at it, dude. Throw it away. Jesus Christ. Give a hoot, don't pollute, but, give a damn. Pick that shit up. Those commercials, man. And he would pull up in his stupid fucking buffalo skin canoe and cry.
Yeah, that was
look at that. That guy's so Italian. He could be on The Sopranos.
I know.
They made him wear a wig and shit.
Yeah.
Like people are throwing things out the window right at his feet.
And he cries.
Oh,
again, Crom would banish you from Valhalla. Don't cry. Do something about it, bitch.
Keep America beautiful. Yeah, well, he definitely shouldn't be like hanging out by the highway either. Someone's gonna hit him.
Doesn't help.
Just standing there with his moccasins on and shit. Yeah, but Native Americans from like that point on, they're associated with like sweat lodges and peyote ceremonies and spiritual things, and we have these ideas. There's a lot of people, they have these ideas of Native Americans that they lived off the land and they used every last piece of the animal and they had a spiritual connection to their surroundings, which, a lot of it's true. There's a lot of truth in that. But
that's the problem with all stereotypes, right? You take something that's partially true and then you blow it up to make it the entirety of the experience, and then you turn with the caricature that is, is at that point is very far from the real deal.
Well, my friend Steven Rinella, the host of The Meat Eater, has the best stories of Native Americans. He has a deep knowledge of the
Do tell.
history of Native Americans, and he's got some fantastic stories about the Nez Perce.
Oh,
First
yeah.
of all, they were fucking cannibals. All right, that was super common to not only attack neighboring tribes, but to eat them, eat their babies, eat their family. Yeah, eat them.
Really?
Yeah, there was a lot of cannibalism going on in the Old West, especially apparently amongst the Great Lakes area, in the Great
Oh,
Lakes
yeah.
area.
Yeah, that's that for sure. Yes.
Why is that? Is it just because the
It's
climate
cultural
was harsh?
things. No, different people. It's kind of like the culture. In fact, that's why it's hard to generalize with these things. Because among native stuff, there's so much difference. The
Mm-hmm.
guys from the Great Lakes have nothing to do with the guys from the plains, who have
course.
nothing to do with. So each one is. But yeah, Great Lake stuff is pretty intense. The part that I dig the most about that is when you would go out to get captives. You go on a war raid, you get captives, and once you get captured, you have one of two options. If they like you, then they adopt you as a family member. You replace one of their dead family members, and you get treated that way. You are loved, you are brought in. They don't like you so much, then they torture you to death over a 4-day period. So it's both things can happen. It's kind of a flip of a coin there, which I guess if you're Hillary Clinton is a good thing, but for everybody else, not so much.
Yeah, he told me the story of this one guy who got captured. There was 2 guys captured. One guy, they killed him in front of his friend, and then they told him, I think they might have ate him in front of his friend too. They killed him, and then they told him, we're going to take off all your clothes, and we're going to let you run. And if you can get away, you can live. And so this motherfucker ran like the wind, jumped in the freezing cold river, and hid in a beaver dam.
Yep.
He got smart enough to climb up into a beaver dam, which, by the way, is a risk and a fucking half. Because what if you climb in there and the beaver's in there? That beaver's going to fuck you
Yep,
up. People
big
have died from beavers
yeah.
before. If beaver bites your artery, beaver bites you, I mean,
Then
they
you're
can chew.
done.
They chew through a tree.
Yep.
They'll fuck you up. And this guy, he fucking made it. And he walked for days and some ungodly amount of miles, naked, by the way, freezing cold, lived off of whatever he grab and stuff in his mouth and eat,
Yep.
and managed to survive some crazy way and lived to tell the story.
No, in fact, that's what I dig, like for History on Fire, those kind of stories that are so, it's like, come on, the screenwriter from Game of Thrones wrote that, right? It can be real. And then you dig it and it's like, no, there's real and there's wars and it's more intense than anything you could imagine.
Isn't The Revenant, isn't that based on a real story?
Oh, yeah. It's, that guy has a brilliant tale. They kind of tailored it a little bit. There was no Indian son. There was none of that part.
Oh,
but
really? It's always an Indian.
I know.
Fucking
There's
Indians, man. You want to sell it to white people? You gotta throw an Indian in there.
they being in the Black Hills area hunting, and then the grizzly fucking him up. There's 2 guys leaving him for dead and taking off even with his rifle. That's all true. But yeah, they tweaked it a little bit.
Somebody needs to write a movie about that Sue Aikens lady that lives up in Alaska. Because that lady she's the one who's on that show Life Below Zero.
I heard about it. I guess
She lives 200 miles plus above the Arctic Circle in this place called Kavik. She was one of my guests on the podcast. She's amazing. Amazing. I mean, she is as fucking gangster as a human being can get.
I bet.
Being awesome, just so cool. She's a really nice, intelligent woman. She's just like so powerful. Anyway, she was up there, and she got attacked by a bear and fucked up, man, like real bad.
Yeah.
Like broke her hip, I think, broke her leg, fucked her head up. I think it cracked her skull, like serious injuries. She survived. She crawled back to her dwelling. She doesn't even live in a house because where she lives, you're not allowed to put permanent residences. So they're like tent things that are up there.
Wow.
Yeah, they're made out of cloth. These like weird sort of buildings with like wire structures and thick canvas tops. She was there for days before she owns like a refueling station up there. Someone flew in, they found her, they brought her to medical help and patched her up, fixed her up. She heals up, goes back, shoots that bear and eats it.
That's the way you want to do it.
That bitch is gangster as fuck.
Yeah.
You imagine eating a bear, just cutting into, yeah, you motherfucker. Not so cocky now, bitch.
That's a badass revenge tale. That's
yeah,
the
it
way you
is.
want to do it.
Fuck yeah, man.
So to her, watching The Revenant is like, that's Tuesday morning, whatever.
Come on, pussy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
I
It's
mean,
an
anybody
amazing
would
story.
live in a cloth tent north of the Arctic. That Wim Hof would be proud, right?
And she's a grandma.
Yeah, of course. It's like
Yeah.
pinch the grandkids' kids after
Yeah.
eating the bear's heart.
Jesus Christ, she's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what she enjoys. She enjoys living out there in the wilderness with the wolves and the foxes and the bears and the caribou. She loves it. She loves going out and shooting her meals and bringing them home and cutting and does all the butchering. All the food she gets from the land around her. She's just a wild person. It's just like the life she loves. She found it and she's smart, man. Like, she could do a lot of shit. She's not an unresourceful person who's trapped up there.
Right.
She just really, truly enjoys it.
That's a choice.
Fascinating
Yeah.
person. Just absolutely fascinating person. She's one of my favorite all-time guests.
I need to
Next
go back.
to Daniele
and-
Bolelli, of course.
I need to go back and catch that one. I think I saw it was there and I didn't catch it. I need to listen again.
She's amazing.
I'll
man.
weep myself for having missed it.
I would like to go up there and hang out with her.
Yeah, she sound awesome.
I would have to go up there in the winter, though. Otherwise, I'd be a pussy. Like, you can't go up there. I can't. Hey, just came in
In
to
the
see how
middle of
hard it is in
summer and-
July. But I bet it's cold as fucking July, too.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think, what is the time of year where you go to see the Aurora Borealis? The Northern Lights?
I haven't been. I don't know.
I think that is a summer thing. Is that a summer thing or is that an all year round thing?
No idea.
I don't know either, but that would be worth traveling
Yeah.
just to see. That's supposed to be insane.
Yeah, that's
like the
beautiful.
whole sky is filled with like green mist.
Either that or you can stay in LA and take mushrooms and you got the same
Yeah,
effect.
that's better, right?
Yeah.
It's better. You don't have to
Fuck
be in
the
Alaska.
bear and the snow and the just...
Do you ever been to Alaska?
No, never.
You know what's crazy about it, man? Is how big it is.
Yeah.
When you fly over it, you go like, Jesus Christ. And then you look at it on a map, you're like, what the fuck? That place is, I think it's the biggest state. Is it the biggest state?
Is it?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. By far, Jamie says. Yeah, I think
Damn.
it's like almost 2 Texases.
Seriously? Then
Yeah.
they do some really shitty job with
Yeah,
maps.
find
'cause
out how many
does-
Texases fit in Alaska. Oh, they do a shitty job with maps.
Does not look like 2 times Texas.
Well, have you ever seen how big Africa really is? Like, when people talk about Africa, I think people get this idea that Africa, the continent of Africa, is similar to the continent of North America, but it's not even close. Look at this. Whoa, Jesus Christ. Twice the size of Texas.
Yeah, that is huge.
God damn. Alaska is larger than all but 18 sovereign countries. Holy shit. Look how big it is when you
Yeah,
put it in the
that's-
middle of America.
Freaky.
Fucking A, man. God, it's huge. And it's so lightly populated.
Yep.
It's amazing. I fucking love it up there. I got to get back.
When
I
was
did
the
a-
last time?
2 years ago, Ari Shafir and I did Anchorage.
Mm-hmm.
We did a comedy show up there and went
Oh, cool.
salmon fishing. Saw some moose. Saw my first moose ever. Saw some eagles for the first time. That was awesome. Eagles are awesome.
Yeah, you told
man.
me that they were pretty intense.
Oh,
kind
they're
of
so
birds.
It's so strange when you look at a wild eagle in
Yeah.
the eye. You know, even though it's kind of far away, they don't let you get that close to them. But when you're passing by, we were on a boat and we're passing by these trees, and there's an eagle up in the tree, and you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
They're big fucking animals, that's for sure.
They don't get hunted by people either, so they're not afraid of people. But you know, they're not stupid either. But that place is a legitimately wild place in that when you get out of your car, you have to run to where you're going, or you're going to get swarmed by mosquitoes.
That bad. Yeah, that's what I heard about. That's the part that I didn't like about Alaska. When
Yeah.
I heard about, like, oh, it sounds awesome, and then I heard about the level of like how intense it is mosquito-wise. I was like, shit, okay, that.
Ari and I were laughing. We couldn't even believe it. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, open up the car door, put your boots on, and just the time it takes to open the door and get your boots on, the car is filled with mosquitoes. Like hundreds of mosquitoes. Like a swarm. They find you instantly.
What's about the climate there that attracts mosquitoes so much?
I think they're just fucking desperado because they know they're only going to be alive for a month. You know, that's what I think.
And there's like 3 humans to bite, and so
Yeah.
there's. Gotcha.
I think, I mean, they bite other animals,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So I just don't think that they have much time. I think they only stay alive for a short period of time. So while they're at it, they're at it.
So
man.
they are berserker
Woo!
mosquitoes just going
yeah.
for it, and well, yeah, that's a scary fucking place if you have.
Yeah, more so than Florida. You would think like Florida mosquitoes would be the most rabid.
That's what you figure. Tropical place,
No.
lots of humidity, all of that.
They're
No,
like Florida people, though. They're fat and lazy. They just,
just taking it easy. It's like, there'll be another tourist. I can get that one. I don't have to chase this one.
yeah. Florida has its own problems, though, man. Florida it's so funny. They're doing a big python hunt now.
Are they?
Because so many people have released pythons in Florida that they've bred and overbred. They have like a gigantic python invasion problem to the point where they're offering rewards for people to kill pythons.
The headlines that come out of Florida are one of the things that are a constant source of entertainment, because you get things that are like, again, this must be the Onion, right? It's too fucking crazy. And then you check it, and it's like, no, that was real. That really happened.
Yeah, there's a great Twitter page called Florida Man. And it's just filled. Every day there's some new crazy shit some guy tried to do while huffing paint and fucking his dog. It's not a real state.
What did I read? What was the last thing?
It's like a prison
there was,
colony.
This guy was robbing a house, and I think the owners came back, so the guy took off, and they were looking for him with flashlights, so he dove in this pond right outside.
Alligator.
Exactly. Yeah. They promptly ate him.
Yeah, I've heard that before. There was another one recently, real similar, where they were chasing this guy in a stolen car. The guy gets to a bridge, jumps off the bridge, and immediately gets jacked by an alligator. Like, literally jumped on an alligator.
It's like, good timing. Good job, man.
But you got to be fucking crazy to jump in the water with those things, man.
Yeah.
If you've seen an alligator,
No, they're
they're
beasts.
big ass fucking dinosaurs.
Yep.
They're not as dangerous as Nile crocodiles, which coincidentally have also been released in the Everglades.
Good.
They have a shoot on sight, kill on sight order. If anybody sees a Nile crocodile, you're supposed to kill them on sight because they've started to breed in the Everglades.
Aye.
So you're talking about those 18, 20 foot long, gigantic African crocodiles that take out wildebeests. Yeah. They live in Florida too.
Yeah, that's a rough state.
It's funny, man, because all the tree huggers are like, don't kill the pythons. It's not their fault. Like, okay. You know how big pythons get, you crazy bitch? They're going to eat your family.
Yeah.
They'll eat babies. They eat people. Fuck, man. It's Florida.
The joys of nature.
I've been watching Narcos on Netflix.
How is it? I heard awesome things about it.
It's so good.
Yes.
I'm sad because there's only 2 episodes left. And I don't know if they're doing a second season. I don't know if they can. I mean, I think Pablo Escobar gets caught. I think that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Unless it goes on further. I don't know, though. I wasn't totally aware of the entire story of Escobar. I just knew that he was a drug dealer, and I knew, fuck, man.
No, those guys don't mess around.
Fuck. It's so well done, too. The show's so well done.
Yeah. No, that's on my watch list, because I heard that it's every single person I talked with told me it's awesome. That it's one of the
It's
greatest
insane.
shows.
He went to war.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to tell anybody anything about it but it's fucking shocking, and it builds up really well. Like, it really builds up well from the early days of his drug dealing, just finding out about drugs, to the end.
Well, that's what's funny about it, that people got all like, oh, the criminal, the mafia. When you look at like mafia stories, they are identical to the history of any state, of any nation. You know, it's just the dynamics are, one is suit and tie, the other one is with AK-47. But other than that, the basic things are, it's a struggle for power. It's a game of fuck over your enemies, cheat the other one who can get you, do what you can to expand your... It's the same story over and over, whether you talk about Alexander the Great or Pablo Escobar. It's not that different, really.
No, it's not.
The specifics are slightly different, but the big picture is not. It's a struggle for power, end of story.
And it seems like when you get to the really high levels of finance and of volume and of the amount of troops and the amount of people that you're controlling, the area control, that's when the real atrocities kick in. Like, it's almost universal that horrific acts get done to intimidate your enemy and to make sure that you retain control over certain areas.
Yeah, it's one of the things where it's like, in that sense, human history is really kind of fucked up and weird if you approach it through a moral lens, because you see so many nasty things take place. And the weird ones are the ones where there really is no good solution, where you don't know what the healthy thing would be. Like, there's one that I was researching for a History on Fire maybe a year from now or something. I was researching this story from the 1980s in El Salvador. At that time, there was a right-wing government in El Salvador that the U.S. government was supporting, and there was a leftist guerrilla. There was, in the logic of the Cold War, there are only two options. You're either pro-communist or you are pro-U.S. There's nothing in between, right? So in the process of fighting this leftist guerrilla, the government of El Salvador is doing nasty things, right? Anybody who criticizes them, doesn't matter whether they're communist or not, get tortured to death, chop off their bodies, leave them in the middle of the street. American Congress at that point goes like, oh shit, we can't really keep sending millions of dollars to these guys. We're doing horrible human rights violations. So they passed this law that in order for any more aid to be sent to the governor of El Salvador, the president of the United States had to sign off on a document stating that these guys have made huge improvements in their human rights record, that they are on the right path, it's getting better. Problem is, the deadline is coming up. Reagan is itching to be able to send out all these millions of dollars to the government of El Salvador. And in that moment, the Salvadorian army goes on this offensive against the guerrilla. They find some villages that just wanted to be left the fuck alone. They were not pro-communist, but they were not anti-communist either. They were like a bunch of evangelical Christians, peasants, who just wanted to farm their fields and be left alone. So they would let the communists go through, they would let the army go through. They figure if we stay neutral, everything works out, right? Well, not in the Cold War. In the Cold War, there is no neutrality. You're either on one side or the other. So Salvadorian army come in, grab every single villagers, separate the men from the women, kill all the men, rape all the women, then kill them all, kill everybody in that village. And the New York Times did an article on it, and Reagan was like, oh shit, what do I do now? So he said, the guy who wrote this article is some crazy communist. None of this is true. It's a smear campaign against our allies. The government of El Salvador has made huge improvements. I'm sending them millions of dollars. Of course, years down the road, turns out that the original story was true, that this stuff did happen, but other than bitching about Reagan, this is not even an anti-Reagan thing. It's a messy situation because you do support the government of El Salvador. You're literally supporting death squads, child rapists. I mean, it doesn't really get any worse than that. You don't support them. There's a chance that El Salvador could turn into a communist state, in which case it's not exactly like communism around the world has a high reputation for human rights. It's fucking awful, right? So it's like, what do you choose? Do you choose to support them or do you choose not? It's like, how do you see where I'm going? Like, It's a situation where no matter what you choose, you're fucked. Yeah. You're doing bad things. But clearly, the moment you're supporting death squads, that cannot be the right solution. Right. Not that but at the same time, what is the right solution? What is the good thing you should do? Carter had the same exact problem. Right before Reagan, Carter, some guy, the Archbishop of El Salvador, this guy Oscar Romero, sent him a letter saying, stop fucking sending money to my government because they're doing horrible things with it. Carter was like, I don't want to look at this because this is politically troubling for me. So 2 weeks later, death squads walked into the main church in El Salvador. This guy was celebrating mass. They gunned him down, killed him. So it's not a Republican or Democratic thing. It's like both sides of the game there did not know how to handle this in a situation where it's like, which mass murderers do we support and which ones do we oppose? Because that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
It was like, those are the stories where like, what the fuck do you do? What is the right thing to do in those cases?
There almost is no right thing.
Right. Exactly.
When you're dealing with certain parts of the world that have been embattled, they've been just intertangled in these horrible, bitter feuds and rivalries, horrible things get done in war. And when you're dealing with two horrible groups, and you can't really differentiate substantially one being more moral or ethical over the other one. And oftentimes, like if you were more moral or more ethical, you wouldn't survive in those terrible environments. Like you have to do horrible things just in order to stay above water.
And in fact, that's what keeps these stories, keep you on your toes. Because if you condemn one and not the other, you're an hypocrite. If you condemn the other and not the first, you're an hypocrite. If we get even to what we are saying, which is the right thing, right? It's like, well, it's a fucked up situation and you have to do terrible things. If you say too easily, it's like, oh yeah, well, so go chop the kid's head off, no big deal. So you have to, you say it, but you also have to say the opposite. It's like, it's a weird dynamic there where there's no real place where you feel comfortable, like, that was the right thing to do. I'm glad we made the right call. Now I can go to sleeping easy and stuff.
Well, let me ask you this, because you're a legit historian. Was there ever a time in human history where there was like a noble, ethical government of any sort of an empire or country that didn't engage in any human rights and did the right thing? Like, was there a utopian government at any time in history?
No, I think you got these different degrees of fucked up. You
Right.
know, some degrees you're like, that's not that bad. Come on, we can live with that. But we can live with that does not mean it's good. It's still kind of shitty. It's just a lot less shitty than the alternatives.
Like, outside of modern times, what's the most utopian version of a government that ever sort of ran?
I think what you get is you do run into societies where maybe, like, for example, if you have low population density, hunters and gatherers, but the key word being low population density, because once you have too many people, they compete for hunting grounds and they do horrible things to each other. But if you have a relatively low population density, these guys, there's really no reason to go to war with another tribe over wealth because you're nomadic. You have to fucking carry it on your back. I don't want your shit. I have to carry it then. That's hard work. So it's
Right.
you don't fight over wealth. You don't fight over religion because most of these guys have a kind of inclusive approach where whatever you do that works, good for you. There's no competition there. So you have removed two huge things that people do nasty things to each other over. They're still fighting over hunting grounds. They're still fighting over women. So that will still happen. But so it's not an ideal like utopia. Oh, those noble hunters and gatherers who could do no wrong. No, they did horrible things to each other. They just had less reasons to do so than later societies.
Right.
You know.
So agriculture and cities and civilizations, that's when things started getting really rough.
Well, I mean, again, it's the plus and the minus, right? The plus is because you stay in one place and you can accumulate wealth. Now, I don't have to carry everything I own on my back every few days. I can sit in one place and accumulate wealth. You do start seeing the growth of social classes. You do start seeing, I mean, among hunters and gatherers, you don't have a rich hunter and gatherer and a poor one. You know, everybody's kind of on the same game. When you become sedentary, you can accumulate wealth. And so you do start seeing this game played out in the good way. You know, people who have the resources to dedicate themselves to stuff other than working for a living and so on. And in a horrible way with all the nastiness that takes place over the fighting over, I want your shit, I'm gonna slaughter your family in order to get what I want, you know? So that's why to me, when you read those, and as usual with human beings, there's always a good and bad kind of logic, is you have the guys who are like, man, pre-agriculture sucked. It was a horrible, harsh life where it was terrible and agriculture freed everybody and states are wonderful and all that. There's an element of truth to that, and there's also an element that's not, and vice versa. The guy who idealizes hunters and gatherers as the best humans ever and they could do no wrong is like, up to a point, you know, in both scenarios, there are some huge advantages and some huge disadvantages. It's just that they change which ones they are.
Yeah, when you get so much wealth and so much prosperity that you start getting royalty and you start getting people that accumulate massive amounts of wealth, and then they have this incredible ability to control all the people around them, and everyone's fearful of them because they have ultimate power. They can have you killed instantly and face no repercussions. I was reading this article about this guy who was some Middle Eastern prince, and he was living in Beverly Hills. Did you hear about this guy?
No, which
and
one?
He
What
was
did he do?
sexually assaulting people that worked for him.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And they
I saw
arrested
that
him,
story.
and then he fled the country.
Yep. Got away with it.
But he was saying, like, you know, you can't do shit to me. I'm a prince. You know, and he's like saying that to them. Like, it's 2016, and he's still like, I'm a prince.
Shit, I had, there was even one like that. Fuck, I wish I remember the details. I kind of lost them. I think, I don't want to say it.
Well, there was two of them real recently.
There was one, maybe you remember it better. I do. There was one where the justification was, I didn't rape her. I fell on her, and I just happened to be aroused, and I accidentally penetrated. Yeah,
that guy
exactly.
was acquitted.
And that's the best part.
Yes.
He was fucking acquitted over
That was in the
defense.
UK, though.
He
That was
like
in the UK.
The worst defense in the history. Like, if you can come up, like, how are we going to defend this guy? Let's figure it out. Like,
She was underage.
Yeah, you get laughed out of the room. It's like the worst defense ever, and he got acquitted.
See if you can find that. He fell on her, but how did they acquit him? Whoever like was on that jury, I guess it was a jury or whatever, who the judge is, follow that guy forever.
Yeah, I would check their bank accounts for a long time.
Somewhere you're gonna find a hole in the ground with a bag of gold.
Yep.
Here it is. British man who told police he may have penetrated teenager after falling on top of her, cleared of rape.
Yep.
Whoa. Was a British millionaire who told the police he may have penetrated a teenager after falling on top of her has been cleared of rape. Try saying that name. Eshahan Abdulaziz was accused of forcing himself. Oh, she was 18. 18 as she slept on the sofa in his Lincoln apartment after a night of drinking at an exclusive nightclub. When he was questioned, the 46-year-old businessman said he had slipped and fallen on top of the girl, which may have caused his penis to penetrate her. I'm fragile. I fell down, but nothing ever happened between me and this girl. I'm fragile.
Yeah, what? So I can keep my balance, but apparently I have great aim because somehow I managed to find their vagina.
The jury acquitted him of one count of rape after just 30 minutes of deliberations. Wow,
yes.
That jury.
Somebody
They're going to be in Cancun.
Big time.
They're going to be on a fucking yacht balling. Toot, like a Jay-Z video. Toot. Well, there's also fear, too. When someone has that kind of money, you got to wonder. Is he a billionaire? Did it say B.I. or
millionaire?
Well, pussy. Doesn't even have a billion. Come on, son. I wonder how he got away with that. That doesn't even make any sense. Unless they just picked a super sympathetic pro-Muslim, I'm assuming he's Muslim with that name, pro-Muslim
But even
jury.
then, I mean, it's like, come on.
How did they do it?
Well, I really think what you laid out is the I'll buy you option or I'll have you killed option are really the only two logical explanations. Because other than that, this is not a defense. This is the most, this is a late night joke. It's
First of all, look at that guy's fat face and tell me that guy keeps a raging erection all the time while he's walking around. That guy's not healthy at all. You're not 15. You're not like some young boy with a throbbing heart on that he just literally it runs his life. That guy's probably lucky. Unless he's on Viagra, he's lucky if he can get it up.
Yeah.
Look at him. It's all fat and swollen. Yeah. That guy's not healthy enough to have a rod just all the time. Fucking raging boner. Oh, I slipped. Oh, I just got in there. His dick is like a heat-seeking missile. It just finds its way into vaginas. All he has to do is fall near the girl. He just slips in there.
Yeah, it's not that easy. You remember when you are 16, you have to work at it.
Yes, you have to work at it. Jury acquitted him. Well. Yeah, there's no justice in the world. If I was that girl's dad, or if I was that girl, or her mom, or anybody, just the girl herself. Yeah, find that guy.
Yep.
Well, what is she saying? That she was asleep and he just stuck his dick in her while she was out cold?
Basically, yeah.
And she woke up. Hey, fucker. He's like, I trip. I fall inside you. No big deal. Imagine the odds. But imagine if that's really what happened. What if he's walking on hardwood floors and he's wearing socks and he steps on a piece of paper and just whoops.
And she's not wearing
anything. Flying through the air.
Yeah.
He had claimed he had gone to see if the young woman wanted a T-shirt to sleep in or a taxi home. But he said she pulled him on top of her and placed his hand between her legs. Oh. His semen and DNA were found inside the young woman, but he said it was possible that he had semen on his hands from having sex with a 24-year-old earlier.
This
coming all over your
more
hands?
Complicated.
Yeah, well, if he got semen on his hands, how did he get it inside of her?
Yeah.
I slipped and my penis and my hands went inside of her. Her vagina is huge. It's cavernous. He's...
Oh, God.
that didn't even make any sense.
No.
She pulled him on top of her and placed his hand between her legs. Boy, that's a squirrely fucking story.
Yeah.
Early hours, the young woman said she had woken up in the early hours of the morning with Mr. Abdullah Aziz on top of her, forcing himself inside of her. He claimed he had gone to see if the young woman wanted a T-shirt to sleep in or a taxi home. Okay, I believe her. How about that? I think his story sucks. Well, his story definitely sucks about slipping and falling in her. That sucks. But it sucks even more. I had gone to see if she wanted a T-shirt to sleep in or a taxi home. What a wonderful person you are. You are amazing. Did you also donate some money to a charity of her choice? I was up all night trying to help orphans.
But also you think, how stupid do you have to be to back up a story? Because you can turn it into a he said, she said kind of thing. No, it was consensual. No, it wasn't. Then it's harder to prove, right? There's an argument there. This is the most fucking ridiculous story ever. How do you even sit down and say, no, I'm not going to go for the consensual thing. I'm going to back up this crazy, weird-ass tale. It's it make no sense.
Meanwhile, he's free right now with his feet up on the coffee table, smoking a fat Cuban cigar, laughing. Probably getting his dick sucked by some Russian hooker.
That's probably why the first few seasons of Dexter were so popular, right? Before
Right.
they fucked it up, and it was still a good show.
Yeah, first season was awesome.
Because everybody's got that thing, right? There's so much nasty shit that happened
Yeah.
in the world with no repercussions that everybody's got the fantasy of, fuck you, I'm gonna get you.
Boy, did they fuck that show up.
Yeah.
They took that show was like a work of art that the
Yeah.
writers from Murder, She Wrote got a hold of. And they just started just shitting in the mouth
Yeah.
of every character.
Yeah, it
It
became
was
really
awful.
bad.
God, it was awful. It was so bad. People kept telling me, no, you got to give it a chance. It gets better. Fuck you. I don't have that kind of time in my life.
In a masochistic effort, I stuck through it all. I've seen
Did
every
you really?
single episode, every single season. Yeah, I did
How
not get any
dare
better
you.
by the end.
How
It was,
dare you.
I think, you get sucked in because you get the first 3, 4, 5, whatever many seasons. The first few were good, right? And then you
Yeah.
get like 3, 4 more that are really not. But you're like, no, but maybe they'll get the next one right. It's like, yeah, that did not happen.
You know what I watched that I really didn't realize what it was when it first came out, but how it really changed was the first episode of The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a comedy.
Yep, it was. Well, I mean, yeah, in a weird way, but yeah, there was a lot of comedic element for sure.
Like when the woman had the machine gun and she ran outside with the AK-47, the wife, like that was so out of character.
Yeah.
Like who she became later in the show, like that episode was like it was this preposterous gang family,
Yep.
Mob family. It was weird.
But they have some moments in there. Like I
Yeah.
remember even the end of season 1 where they were chasing this dude through the woods to shoot him, and the dude is like screaming all of a sudden. One and he's like, "You got shot," and he's like, "No, fuck, poison ivy," and he's all pissed off about that. And it's
Yeah.
like they throw in these weird elements to make it. It was really well written.
Yeah, it was definitely really well written, and it got better. Well, as it got darker and weirder, it got better. That was like one of the few shows ever where they figured out a way for you to feel sympathetic about a murderer.
Oh yeah,
Because Tony Soprano wasn't a murderer.
Absolutely.
He
But you
killed
like
people.
him.
You liked him. Yeah.
shit. I even had. I remember having nightmares of shit. The FBI is trying to get me. I have to hide this stuff. I was all like,
Really?
Because you relate to the guy after a while, or at least I did. I don't know. I felt like,
It's that fucking accent of yours.
yeah, that's probably what it
Your
was.
Italian heritage, your last name as well. Yeah.
Exactly. But
It was a dark time for Italian Americans, though, because everybody wanted to be like connected to the mob back
Right.
then.
Yeah,
All those
yeah,
really
yeah.
dumb East Coast guineas were like so celebratory, and they were upping all their guineaness.
That's
They would,
painful.
They would crank it up to a 10.
Yeah.
Hey, this fucking guy with the thing in the goes, Bagadoji.
I blame,
Hey.
I blame The Sopranos for Jersey Shore. I think that was a direct connection there.
I think you have a point. Yeah, and the Real Housewives of Jersey, which is the most disgusting version of Real Housewives.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, Real Housewives of Miami, they should just give them knives. They just give those bitches knives and let them cut each other. Those are fucking
Yeah.
savages. But Jersey's the grossest. And then now that one family, the woman's in jail and she's doing time, and then she gets out, the husband's got to go in because only one can stay out and watch the kids. So they
Turns.
they take in turns. I think it's like a tax evasion thing, right?
They high five each other on the way in and out. It's like, okay, your turn now. Go.
I'm in favor of people going to jail for stealing things, but man, that tax evasion thing is a tricky one. How about
Yeah.
you just fucking pay what you owe?
Yeah.
How come?
Exactly.
How come that's the only time when you owe something you go to jail? Like if
Yeah.
you owe credit card money, you have to pay it.
Right.
You know, you owe student loan money, you have to pay it. You owe taxes,
You're
go to
fucked.
jail,
Yep,
bitch.
yeah.
We'll lock you in a cage.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's gangster.
Yeah.
They're the big gangsters.
That's what I mean. That's exactly what I was saying about sort of mafia and government
Mhm.
being identical. It's the same shit. I mean,
Yeah.
even like the mafia is funny because a lot of the early mafia stuff came up as a form of government, when like in southern Italy, when they were invaded by the Spaniards, by the French. So the government was not on the people's side. They were occupying force, trying to squeeze as much wealth out of the country as possible. So because they couldn't turn to the government, a lot of the people started turning to this like made up local organization, which eventually, because they provide all these services, but they are also the mafia. They do
Yeah.
and so the original stuff, you can see the logic why beside the criminal element, and then it devolves completely into just criminal element and nothing else. But it's like, there's a reason why, there's a logic to it, and it mirrors a state in every level, the hierarchy of it all, the way they handle business, the whole thing is mirrored on the state.
Yeah, and if you look at the amount of atrocities committed per capita, I mean, it's probably pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the mafia does some awful shit, but so
They
does
do.
the government.
Yeah, exactly.
So does the military. So, I mean, think about the amount of innocent people that are accidentally killed every day,
all the time.
just during military.
Yeah. That's why to
actions.
me the big world conquerors or the mafia bosses, that's why to me the stories are the same thing. It's about the guy struggling for power against his enemies.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing over and over, It's
Yeah, the mafia has its ancient system of government and laws and rules, and so do the Sandinistas, so do the Contras, so does you can go down the line. So did Genghis Khan,
Exactly.
so did Alexander the Great. They all had their own sort of systems of government and rules that you had to live by. And
speaking of Genghis Khan, did you check out that show Marco Polo?
yes, it's good.
I liked it.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
I didn't finish it.
They did a prequel right now. They did like a half hour on the badass Taoist monk.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. I dug it.
Wow.
It was well written. It's good stuff.
it's a very expensive show apparently.
Is it?
Yeah, because the sets are massive.
Yeah.
And they make it look like the the Mongol era, like
Shit.
it's the 1200s.
I hope they don't cancel it for money, because you know which one they cancel for money that killed me? Probably my favorite show of all times. You ever seen Rome? The
No.
HBO one? Oh,
No.
fuck, that was so good.
Was it really?
Amazing. The
Really?
reconstruction, it's a trip. It's
How
so
come I didn't
good.
hear
It's-
about it?
I don't know. It was back, where was it? 2004, 5, something like that.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was a while back. But they only did 2 seasons, but they are fucking awesome. Like every
No
episode.
shit.
I watched every season twice, or maybe even more. It was that good. The main character is pretty much a variation on Conan. It's so cool. And oddly enough, the guy who created the show was John Milius, who was the guy who directed the first Conan, was the guy who was behind part of the creative directing of the early UFC. He's the guy who wrote Apocalypse Now.
Wow.
He's in so many of the things I dig. And but yeah, that show, man, if you have never seen it, check it out. I mean, today it looks tame by comparison because so much stuff has been done afterwards that just takes it 10 notches. But for the time, it was also pretty intense with nudity and violence and the grittiness of it all. It's an awesome show, man.
So it sort of opened the door maybe for things like Game of Thrones.
Big time. Big time.
It's funny how a show like that didn't catch on, but a show like Game of Thrones does, or Sopranos does.
I think what it was is Rome was actually doing fairly well, but not well enough for the budget. I think the budget was too inflated compared to the results. The results were good. People liked it. The critical reviews were great. It had an audience, was good. But, The Sopranos, you shoot it in somebody's house. The budget is not going to be what you have to recreate ancient Rome on a grand scale. It's a different kind of game right there. So HBO, I think it wasn't that, this show is tanking. This show is doing well, but it costs too much fucking money.
Those shows, they didn't have the option of selling them on iTunes back then, did they?
No, exactly. That's
What, 2004? Did they have
Yeah.
iTunes back then? They kind of did, right? I want to say.
If
Did
they even
have
did, it
movies?
would have been so much the early stages that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
It's fucking 10 years ago.
I know, but it's another universe completely.
It might as well be.
Yeah.
With everything, with social media, with everything. It's
Yeah.
a whole nother universe.
How many podcasts were around back then? Was there like a few people started fucking with it, but nothing on a big scale yet?
It's probably something. There's
Yeah.
probably something. This podcast has been around since for 6 years. So since 2009, 10, somewhere around then. I think we were doing it in December of 2009, so right before 2010.
Well, and I'm
So-
sure when you started podcasting, Word was a fraction of what it is today.
Yeah, it was real small.
So it's
Adam Carolla had one, and there was a few other ones. Adam Curry had one of the first ones, and John Dvorak. But I didn't know about them.
Right.
I didn't download them back then. I got the inspiration to do mine from Anthony Cumia, because Anthony Cumia from Opie and Anthony had this set up in his basement where, he had a lot of money and he had a cool house. He lived by himself. So he put up a green screen and set up a stage where he had a nice desk and some real professional cameras and started doing this thing called Live from the Compound. And Live from the Compound was like his own little fuck around, have some fun at home show. He had like Guinness on tap and he would just drink and talk shit. And it was really fun to watch. And I realized, I was like, wow, here's a guy that's on Sirius. He's on the Opie and Anthony show. It's a very popular show on Sirius. And he's decided just for fun to do this thing in his basement. He's
Right.
not making any money from it.
Yeah.
It's just for fun. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I could probably do something like that. And so we started doing it off of, just Ustream, just sitting there with a laptop talking shit.
Right.
And so my podcast didn't become like an iTunes podcast for like a few months after the first one. We realized once we started collecting them, we then took the audio and started putting it up on iTunes. But there wasn't that much going on back then. And then we got in like right at the right time. And then like in the next few years, other comics started their own podcasts, you know, and then everybody, you know, all these different people, Bill Burr and, you know, and Diaz and Duncan and everybody else started, you know, doing podcasts as well. And they all took off.
Well, you are single-handedly responsible for like the growth of like there are so many podcasts that are people who came through your show and then went, I should do one. You know, there's like a long list of people who've done that.
There's a few, yeah. I try to help them too. I want them to do podcasts. I just think it's the best form of, if you're a comic, it's the best form of expression.
Yeah.
Where you just talk, people get to know the actual you, like 100%
Absolutely.
you for 3 hours or whatever it is, you do yours over the course of 700 and now we're like 750 something, 755.
Yeah, that's
Jesus
a lot
Christ.
of hours.
755 podcasts, most of them intoxicated. A good percentage of them.
I know. I've seen that lately, though. Hasn't happened as much.
The intoxication?
Yeah, in the
there's some conversations you can't have intoxicated.
I see.
You'll just get too scatterbrained. You want to talk about Smurfs or fucking Yetis or something in the middle of someone talking about the economy or Bitcoin.
I feel you.
Yeah, there's some that lend itself to it and some that don't. It's really completely dependent upon the guest and what the subject is. And I like to mix it up too. You know, that's the thing about being a marijuana enthusiast. Unless you're like a Doug Benson kind of guy who everybody just assumes is high 24/7, because that's kind of his shtick.
Yeah,
you know, like even the name of his podcast, Getting Doug with High, like, I get it. You can't speak. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think pot. I think is like everything else. It shouldn't be all the time for everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything. Yeah. It's it could be a crutch, and it's not a crutch you want.
No.
It's a fun, beautiful aspect of nature and a great way to perturb your normal states of consciousness and give you some unique insight. And it's a lot of benefits. It makes you feel good. Makes you enjoy wine. It makes me like very friendly. Like pot makes me like want to hug people and
totally,
you know. But I just think you should be cool with just life.
I'm a big fan, though, I have to say. I'm a huge fan of the effect that weed has on female sexuality.
Yeah.
The way, at least in my experience, women respond to weed. Oh, good God.
The good ones do.
Yeah, my best ally ever. It's like suddenly you feel like a god. You touch them and they have multiple orgasms and you're like, that was easy. That didn't take much.
Well, it makes hugs feel good.
Yep.
Just hugs. Forget about sex. Just smoke weed and hug. It feels amazing, you know? You ever done ecstasy?
No, it's been on my to-do list, but I've had...
You could hold hands with a dude when you're on ecstasy, and you wouldn't feel bad at all.
Really?
You and a dude could be rubbing each other's hands.
You're like,
doesn't feel bad at all.
That's the best thing ever, right?
I'm telling you, one thing that it does, it's fucking terrible for your brain. At least I used to qualify that when I did it, I probably did a little too much. And the next day, I just was so fucking stupid. My brain didn't work good. I've talked to many people who don't have that problem, but they don't have to do the same sort of things with their brain that I have to do. So it depends on what you do. Like if you go to work and you have a normal job and you don't have to do anything important and maybe, you know.
Great. No biggie.
Maybe it's fine. But if you're a person who has to think for a living and you have to do like stand-up comedy on stage or you have to write or you have to podcast or something like that, like I couldn't imagine doing ecstasy and then doing a UFC the next day.
Yeah, that would be rough.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
That kind of the whole theory that there are these, I don't know what pills are, but that you take after you take ecstasy.
5-HTP.
Is that what it is that allow you not to have the downer afterwards?
I've never done it. But I would imagine, you know, like I said, I only did ecstasy once.
Right.
And the one I did, I just totally did it naturally. But I do take 5-HTP. I take New Mood, which is 5-HTP and L-tryptophan.
Yeah.
That stuff definitely works.
Hey.
But I've never done it in conjunction with acid, or with Molly or ecstasy. But actually, that's how it got invented. That's how New Mood got invented.
Really?
Yeah, Aubrey was trying to figure out a way to mitigate partying.
I love Oprah. He has the best ideas.
I mean, that's just his pure. It was called Roll Off.
We were
That's what it was
chatting the other day, and he had this whole perfect scheme for basically having legal prostitution by using like a porn loophole that, you know,
Yeah.
if there's a camera rolling, that it's porn, it's not prostitution.
It
And I
is.
was like,
It's true. It's true.
I
You
love
can
the
even
way-
sign a contract.
Yeah.
You could hire someone, sign a contract to have a porn film, and even just for your own benefit. You
Right.
could have it for yourself as long as you're filming.
Right, that's hilarious.
It's so
But-
stupid.
But yeah, I love the way Aubrey's brain works. It's
Yeah.
brilliant.
He's not the only one that's thought that, I'm sure.
No, I'm sure, but still.
The porn loophole is how porn stars get away with doing quote unquote prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a girl that was at the Comedy Store and she was telling guys that you could fuck her, but you have to pay her rate and you have to turn a camera on.
Yep. Yep.
And she's like, "I'm not a hooker." I'm like,
Nope.
"Okay, I don't even know
porn.
what to say. I gotta
Yep.
go."
Oh, no, I would have entertained that conversation for a while.
Yeah, it was getting ugly. It was getting. And she had this dude with her. I'm like, well, "How does he fit
Okay,
in?"
Yeah, that
So you have
complicates
to-
things a little bit.
Well, he was like, I didn't know if he was the boyfriend or if he's the pimp, but he was.
Right.
He didn't. I mean, unless he had a gun, I don't know how he's gonna protect her. It was the whole
Right.
thing was very strange. But that's the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Comedy Store is a vortex of strange. Somehow or another, it just drags those people to that one place
All
on
in
Sunset.
there. Nice.
That and the Rainbow. You ever go to the Rainbow
No.
Bar and Grill? That's the place where when Lemmy died from Motorhead, they saved a seat for him.
Oh, that's
They
awesome.
have a seat that's permanently reserved. They have like candles
Permanently?
on it. Yeah, it's permanently reserved.
I like that place
It's
already.
Lemmy's seat. Yeah, they have candles there and shit. Like maybe if one of his band members comes there and they're all sold out, they'll let him sit there.
Maybe they let
Sit
him
up-
slide.
yeah.
Maybe not, though.
Maybe not.
Maybe you have to be
If it's like Lenny's friends, if it's
Yeah.
Lemmy's friends and they want to sit at Lemmy's table, I think that should fly. That's
Yeah.
okay, you know.
I think I can see different factions going to war over it. It's like, no, this is for Lemmy, motherfucker. We cannot
Yeah.
do that. And the other guys being like, it's his friends. Come on, you can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's how
it's-
religious warfare begins.
That is how. Yeah, right. Like sacred.
Yep.
Anything sacred, sacred
Yep.
ground, sacred places. Yeah. Sacred. The word. Just this sacred things. There's good and bad in them. There's definitely merit in sacred
Mm-hmm.
things, but like there's some area in Hawaii where the Keck Observatory is,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to construct a larger, bigger telescope, and apparently they have problems because the Native American, I guess
Hawaiian.
Native American,
Yeah.
Hawaiian, they're sort of Native American, they're Hawaiians. The people that live there have some sacred ground up there
Yeah.
that they don't think that you're supposed to build on,
Mhm.
which, I get it. It's their spot, If all of a sudden some assholes come up there with a telescope.
Yeah, I got that.
Have you ever been up there to the Keck Observatory?
Not that one.
You ever been to the Big Island?
No, been only to Maui.
Big Island is awesome. It's so strange because it's the biggest of the islands, but it's the least populated of the Hawaiian
Yeah,
islands.
that's what I heard that it's...
And it's also one where it has all these different ecosystems all in one island. Like if you go like near the Hilo side where BJ Penn's from, it's all like tropical.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. God, it rains all the time and it's lush and green. And it's magical. But then you go to like the other side, like the Kona side, and it's like it's totally different. It's drier, and then there's areas that have these giant lava beds.
That's a trip. Hawaii,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole place is amazing. Even
Have you seen the lava beds?
Yeah, I've seen some
Fuck.
pretty crazy shit. And like the whole, I don't know, Hawaii is one of those places. It's kind of a mystery that it's even part of the U.S. because it's like in the middle of the fucking Pacific
5
Ocean.
hours
It has
away
nothing
by
to do with
plane.
anything, But it's a beautiful place. I can see how you want to.
Well, how about Alaska? You have to fly through Canada to get to
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
It's not even
No,
connected.
Those are bizarre.
It's a frozen Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's a frozen Puerto Rico.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that's trippy right there.
Yeah.
But but the thing you're saying about the sacred, and to me it's interesting because precisely because you hold something sacred, to me you need to be able to have humor, to laugh about it, to not because you diminish its importance, it's in order to avoid fucking up and turn it into a dogma. The one
Right.
thing that keeps things loose. Like speaking of American Indian stuff and spirituality, I remember being like at some Lakota ceremonies where it was hilarious to see people who have grown up with it, so for them it's the real thing, versus like some white guys who coming up and they have their Hollywood fantasy about it's supposed to be, right? That's hilarious. There was during the break of this ceremony, they were giving some of the Sundance dancers were giving the pipes to some of the people who are supporting there, right? And these guys will take the pipe, they will smoke it, they will pass it to other people. And I gave it to this white lady who was clearly taking herself real seriously, right? So she's tried to light the pipe and she can't, and she fails and she fails and she tries. And then taking herself super serious, she takes a deep breath and she goes, oh, the spirits don't want me to light this pipe today. And there was an old Lakota lady next to her who was trying not to die laughing, but she was trying to be polite, right? But she was like, look, it's a windy day. Just put the hand in front of the lighter when you light it and you're going to be okay, you know.
It's a windy day.
And the thing is, for the whole Lakota lady, the spirits and all of that is real, right?
Yeah.
But precisely because it's real, you can call when sometimes the spirits are trying to tell you something. Sometimes it's just a windy day. Relax a little bit. Lighten up.
Yeah, it's like someone saying to you, namaste. Most people who say namaste are assholes.
Yeah, right.
I don't mean that they're mean people.
Right.
I don't mean they're assholes like they're mean, but you're just shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
bitch. You know, come on, man. You don't really mean that. You're just
Right.
trying to be like super spiritual.
Of course.
But I swear to God, like there's yoga teachers that can say it after a yoga class and you'll say it back. And you mean
Right.
it.
Yeah.
You mean it.
Yeah.
You mean it because you just did 90 minutes of hell together and you'll say it and you'll mean it.
But that's the tricky thing that sometimes the guy with the real deal
Yep.
and the guy with the total phony can sound exactly the same, except that one is real and one is not. Like to me, like
Yeah.
a lot of these things about spirituality, they make me throw up because they are so cheesy, so made up, so fake. But then there are the moments where you go, oh shit, that was it. Like the other
Sure.
day, man, this was trippy. Like this guy from Canada emailed me and he's like, oh, we had this, it was another Lakota thing, right? American Indian stuff. And he's like, we had a ceremony and that was, we prayed also for your daughter and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, thanks, that's sweet. And the guy goes, oh, by the way, I kind of have the feeling that she may be sensitive to things like that. Ask her if by any chance she had a dream having to do with American Indians. And I'm like, that's fucking weird because she doesn't remember her dreams 9 nights out of 10. And, you know, Indians, she never mentioned that once. So there's no, right. But I figure it doesn't hurt to ask. So I try not to ask a leading question. So I just ask her, hey, did you have any dream last night? And she goes, no. And I was like, you see, bullshit, whatever. And then she goes, no, wait. I had a dream. Like my grandpa was taking me to this place where there were Indians and they taught me to speak Lakota. And yeah, we had a good time. And I went like, holy fucking shit. And I don't run with it, you know, I don't say, oh, it's because the spirits, this, I have no fucking idea, right? I'm just reporting what happens. But when you look at it, you go like, oh shit, maybe the universe is a lot weirder than we assume sometimes, you know?
The problem with something like that is you can't measure it.
Of course you can't. There's no way.
Yeah. Whenever like anybody has a clairvoyant moment or a moment where they kind of have an instinct that doesn't seem to make any sense but turns out to be true, and they go, well, what was that? Was it coincidental? Like, what was that? And, you know, there's like some Sam Harris type people that are like very straightforward, rational thinking. Yeah. They'll sort of boil it down to coincidence, and I'm not entirely convinced.
I like Sam, and I don't mean to talk shit about him because I like him and I dig his stuff, but I think that's complete bullshit. Like, to me, you're a fundamentalist as much as a religious fundamentalist. Like, when
How
you're
so?
trying so badly to explain everything, to whether you're explaining it as in it's because God did this, or because, no, it's because it must be a coincidence because the probability of this, that, it's like, dude, can you just admit that life is weird and we don't have all the explanations and leave it at that sometime?
Well, I think he's right most of the time, though. See, I think there's a lot of people that try to make things sound spiritual and connect circumstances and say, you know, it's fate and it's, you know, it's
I agree.
a psychic moment when really it's just total coincidence. There is a lot of that.
A lot, though, is not everything.
It's not everything,
Yeah.
but it's hard to differentiate. Like, what
Yeah.
is, like, you when you talk to a guy and he says that your daughter had some sort of a dream about Native Americans, find out if she's sensitive, and then you ask her and she said, oh yeah, I had a dream about Native
There.
Americans. Like, whoa, the fuck? What are the odds? Most kids, I had a dream. I was on the My Little Pony
Yep.
store, and
Exactly.
I had all the money in the world.
And it was that night,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, it's literally, what the fuck are the odds, right? It's like, what are the odds that she'll remember anything? And what are the odds that it have anything to do with a topic that she never mentioned once in her life? So
Right.
it's-
And you ever have a dream about someone, then you get an email from them the next day, and you haven't talked to them in years?
Absolutely.
I don't necessarily believe that the only connections that people have to each other are physical. Like you have to be there and see each other. There very well might be some sort of a dream state connection or a thought connection that we just can't. We can't put on a scale.
Yep.
We can't like take a ruler and go, oh, this is 7 inches long. And we can't measure it.
I've had enough of those experiences, and again, not to believe, because I don't know what I believe, right? I have no fucking idea. I don't know how the universe works, but I do have enough experiences that let me think there's no way that this is a coincidence, this is a coincidence, this is a coincidence every single time. That it just leaves me with kind of my mind is open to possibilities. I don't know what's out there. There's stuff that I experience. There's stuff that I don't experience. I have zero beliefs about the nature of reality because my tools are very limited about what I understand. But there have been enough of those cases where you go, oh shit, that was like once when I was, I don't know, maybe 18 or something. I had went hiking with my friends, go up the mountain, and we go back, which was great because I was alone with these two hot women. The other guy was with us, had gone off. I'm like, fuck you, hopefully you've disappeared somewhere and I get to enjoy the attention of these two hot women for the rest of the day. This is as good as it gets. And like at one point, I literally, it's like somebody, like a phone rang where I got up and I'm like, fuck, there's a problem. This dude is having a problem right now. And there's really no reason to think it. He said he'll be back 4 hours later, an hour had gone by. There's no reason whatsoever to feel that way. And that's what I tell myself. It's like, that's bullshit. Why are you making, what kind of a bullshit excuse not to deal with the women? That's beautiful. Stay here. What are you saying? And I try, keep getting in my head, right? It's like, no, there's a fucking big problem and it may not be a bad idea to pay attention to it. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, you ruined my day even when you're not here. Fuck you, I don't like you already. But I'm like, okay, this is bugging me. Fine, I'll walk up, I'll start going up the mountain, see what the hell. None of this makes sense. Going up the mountain, there's 15 different paths that you can take to go up the mountain. I don't know which one to take a stab and just pick one because I don't know what else to do. And I keep going and I hear this voice calling me. So I call back and eventually I hear my friend's voice calling again. I find if the dude got dehydrated, had gone up too fast and he was done, right? He had no energy left. He was on the floor, just collapsed. And
what kind of pussies are you hanging around with?
What a wimp. And pick the guy up.
Dehydrated after an hour.
He said he was going to be back at a time, but he had been there longer. But in
How
any
long
case,
had he been there?
I don't know. In any case, I don't like him anymore, so I'm all good with that. I like your theory. It's like, fuck him, he's a pussy. I have no problem with that. But
that's the universe. The universe wanted him to die up there. You should have left him alone.
I know. And
bang those chicks.
I know, man. That's like one of my deepest regrets.
Brought a skull home, use it as a candle holder.
Exactly. It's like, hey, look at that. But, it's those moments you're like, why did I have that thought? Why did I
carry him down?
This one? Yeah.
You carried him down?
Yeah, it was a pain in the... In fact,
oh, my God.
Now I just bring it up this story. Now I'm pissed off. No women. Save this asshole.
And what'd the girls do? They go back, they're eating each other out.
Yeah,
they go back right when they're done coming.
They had this attitude, which was like, really? You want to go? Okay, your loss. And I'm like,
oh, my God.
Why am I doing this?
Were you at least a hero when they found out that the guy was
dying?
Sure.
Great. I was a hero. Who cares?
For the people listening, he's making the hand job gesture.
Yeah, that just did not help at all being the hero of the...
yeah, I wonder what that is. Maybe you just didn't have any faith in your friend. You knew he was kind of an idiot.
Yeah, I don't know, man. In fact, I don't know. It could be, right? I'm not saying that, like the dream thing from last night, that was even weirder. This one, I can see how it could be something else, right? And
well, if I was Sam Harris, I'd say, well, let's examine. Think for a moment about the possibilities.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think that he's necessarily completely averse to the idea of there being some sort of connection. I think he, and like you and I agree, most of that stuff is like the lady that says, the spirits don't want me to light the pipe.
Exactly.
Most of it's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Man, I'll tell you one thing changed my perception on just the supernatural and the spiritual is looking into it. When I did that sci-fi show, and when I did a show called Joe Rogan Questions, Joe Rogan Questions Everything, game show in my head. And the game show in my head show was a hidden camera show where the people had like an earpiece in, and we would tell them to go do things. And we set this one up in Hollywood, and they would have it was a game show like, here's your task, this is what you have to do. And one of the things they had to do was we told them that you're a reporter for a local television station. You're doing the news, and you're reporting on a UFO sighting, you have to find someone and tell them, listen, I had a witness. They were here for this UFO story. We have the cameras here, but they took off. Well, are you willing to say that you saw the UFO too?
Wow.
And fucking everyone said yes. Everyone.
Really?
They just went right. Not only did they say yes, they went right into these elaborate fake stories on camera. And I went, wow. It just was such an eye-opener for me. And I was like, how many of those people that you see in those UFO documentaries, like the famous one was the Phoenix Lights. You ever see the Phoenix Lights? The Phoenix Lights was a series of sightings that happened in Phoenix. I want to say in the early 90s maybe. And it was very controversial because the governor was saying he was going to get to the bottom of this. This is all very controversial. And then he held a press conference and made a mockery out of it by having someone dress up like an alien and say, we found the culprit and here he is. The guy comes out and he's got an alien costume on.
Right.
And the UFO believers were really pissed off because they were like, fuck you, I saw something. There was a triangle-shaped object the size of a football field. It was flying overhead. It wasn't making any noise. Like, all these people had all these things that they said that they saw, but there's almost no evidence. There's only evidence of these lights that are floating in the sky that they think were, there's the governor, Arizona governor, and the fucking alien. It's hilarious. But what people were saying that they saw, there was one explanation that made sense, and that was there were flares that the government had let loose with parachutes, and they were drifting down from the sky slowly, and they fell behind the mountain ranges, and that's why they disappeared. Like, if you look at the actual video that the people did get, they're just lights that are hovering in the sky. There's no triangle-shaped black objects that are flying around, but everybody had all these... As soon as you start saying, hey, there's a Phoenix Lights and people saw a UFO, me too! Man, I saw it! I was on my porch. It was strange. The night was electric. I felt it in the air or something. You know?
No, and I agree with you. In fact, that, like, to me, 99% of these stories are such bullshit. But to me, it's like sometimes there are some that you can't explain, which doesn't mean it's real. Doesn't mean we know why, or yes, it was a UFO, or it was anything else, or it was that, there was something that came into somebody's dream. Who knows, right? I have no idea. But why the hell are we trying to explain it away every single time? Sometimes just say there is no explanation. Who knows why? That's, hey, that's weird. Leave it at that. You know, you don't have to run with it, but you don't have to deny it either.
You know what's amazing, man? Ghost shows.
What's that?
Those ghost shows, ghost hunter shows.
Oh yeah, those ones.
All those fucking years and all those episodes, and those motherfuckers got nothing.
Yeah, it's painful. It's like, let's see what comes after the commercial break. Oh, that was nothing.
They play a tape recorder. Listen to very clear. Did you hear that? It was clearly what he was saying.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yeah, we know what the fuck that is. There's like so much shenanigans and fuckery going on those shows. Yeah. Wasn't there like a fucking murder recently? Like a ghost hunter like killed his wife and killed himself?
Yeah, I heard something like that. Yeah,
something like that, like a famous one, like on television or something like that. Yeah, what the hell? Jamie will find it. But yeah, that and those mediums, like the Long Island Psychic, get the fuck out of here.
No, and that's in fact the problem, that world is filled with so many charlatans that is not even funny.
Couple featured on Ghost Adventures, dead in apparent murder-suicide. Damn. Whew, self-styled paranormal investigators. Yeah, they don't give a fucking degree for that.
Not
paranormal
exactly.
investigation. Mark and Debbie Constantino, is that what it says? And a third still unidentified man were killed yesterday in Sparks, Nevada. That's where it goes down. When a domestic violence incident turned deadly, the Constantinos killed themselves. Build themselves as electronic... Make that larger. As electronic voice phenomenon experts, and made frequent appearances on reality shows about the supernatural, most notably occurring on Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures. Wow. Oh, the couple were estranged. Oh, okay. She found him with a new dude. or he found her, rather, with a new dude. He killed them both and killed himself. Debbie Constantino had been living with two roommates. Approximately 8 a.m. Tuesday, the police were called to her apartment after one of her roommates found their male roommate dead and Debbie missing. Yep, and that's it. Police eventually discovered that she was being held hostage by Mark Constantino in an apartment belonging to one of the couple's adult children. Attempts to negotiate failed. Around 1:30 p.m., a SWAT team breached the apartment door and found both people dead. Jesus Christ.
Heavy.
Woo, can't people just break up?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, what the fuck? Like, murder-suicide when people break up. Like, God damn you, pussy. You fucking pussy. You can't handle her finding a new person?
Yep.
God, people are so weak in that regard. That is one of the weaker aspects of humanity, is the inability to accept that someone doesn't want to fuck you anymore. Like, she wants some new dick. Let her go. She's still got some life left in her.
By the time you're 17, you should be over that. It's like you deal with it the first time, then you learn.
So brutal.
I don't even dig like when people flip out about exes. You know, it's almost a stereotype how everybody talks shit about their ex.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
not
why,
nice.
motherfucker? You brought them into your life.
Yeah.
You are the one who, like, if you didn't see it, worry about what's going on with you if they were really that bad, if they were such horrible human beings and you're the one who brought them in. Or maybe they are not that fucking bad and you're just blowing it out of proportion because you're a drama queen and you can't deal with the fact that they are with somebody else. It's like,
there's definitely that. Well, there's definitely some people that got fucked over. Like
Sure.
divorces where dudes have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for the rest of their life.
but even that to me is interesting because it's like,
No, it's not.
That's
It's horrific.
it is, but it's the same woman that you brought in your life and you didn't fucking see that she was capable of all of that. You know what I mean? So yes, while she's the scum of the earth and you can and should be pissed with her, I would also reserve a little bit for your own judgment of how you opened the door to this lady and
Well,
said,
the problem is that there's a legal option. It's not that she's a scum of the earth. The problem is you are breaking up. She does feel pain. What I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel pain when someone wants to fuck someone else, because you're going to. It's going to happen.
Sure.
You're going to feel terrible. You're going to feel jealousy. You're going to feel sadness. You're going to feel loss. It's going to happen. But what I'm saying is you have to have some fucking perspective. All right, you are a human being. And if you're here in America, you live in the best place on the planet in 2016, which is the best time ever to be alive. And you fucking pussy. You can't you got Match.com, you got Tinder. Get to cracking, baby.
Right.
Start slinging dick. You know, you could sling dick today. Like, you could sling vagina.
Right.
You can do whatever you want to do today. This is a different world. Yep. Like, move on. You'll find someone that you don't want to not be with, or that you do want to be with, that you can get along with. Work on yourself. Like, figure it out, man. Don't go on a murder-suicide rampage.
I know.
But this woman, like, I have a friend I've talked about him before. He's divorced. And the divorce is brutal. It took forever. She went to all the other lawyers in town so that he couldn't go to them, because she had she had contacted them first. Like, it's just brutal shit. And she tortured him for like 2 years, like changing the terms of the divorce, going back, and all the while he's paying for her lawyer, he's paying for his lawyer, he's paying for everything. She was trying to bleed him out. Then she got this ridiculous settlement. She got his house, massive, beautiful fucking house overlooking the ocean, like the whole deal. And on top of that, because they were married for 12 years, he has to pay her for the rest of her life. So he's paying her hundreds of thousands of dollars every year for the rest of her life. And that's not... It's. I mean, you could say, well, hey, he should have known. He let that person into his life, but he used to love her.
Yeah.
But she, in that time of loss and pain and suffering, she had a legal option.
Sure.
And the lawyer came to her and said, "Listen, you helped him.
Right.
You helped him make." Meanwhile, she didn't do shit. She walked around the fucking Beverly Hills with a little tiny dog.
Yep.
You know, got her nails done and got her fucking pedicure done and talked a lot of shit about him while he was at work. And that guy just busted his ass all day long, but because that was his quote-unquote wife, because they scribbled their name on some paper and said, "I do." That guy's fucked for the rest of his life.
No, that I mean, I see the point. Don't get me wrong. There are the cases where the ex is the evil demon from hell. I get that.
Yeah.
But still, while it's their fault and it's not yours, still you're the one who didn't see that they were a demon from hell and brought them in. And two, also is... Yeah, they suck. Now what? You know,
I don't even think they
about
suck.
Well,
I think she's got nothing going on, and this is there to her. It's like, what is she going to do? She's going to work all day and take some job that sucks. Like, she's in her late 40s, early 50s now. She's an older lady. She doesn't have the best health. Like, what is she going to do?
Yeah.
Or is she just going to keep taking hundreds of thousands of dollars every year because the law says it's okay?
Well, I think there's a lot of like those are two pretty dramatic extremes. There's
Right.
like, I'm never gonna take a penny and I'm gonna go back to work 10 hours a day
Who
to
the fuck
make it.
says that?
Or the
Nobody
exactly.
says that. They
Or-
never pass on
That's
the
my
money.
point, right? But the other one is also you're an asshole. It's not just it's there is an option. Is you choose an option that's designed to bleed the other person dry when you know it's not right.
Well,
you
he
know?
makes good money, so
Yeah.
it's not like he's getting bled dry. But he has to pay an
Yeah.
exorbitant amount of money every year to a person that he doesn't fuck anymore. And now he has a wife and he has children. He has a whole new family, and still a giant chunk of his income goes to this lady that he doesn't have anything to do with anymore. And it will to the day she dies. So if she lives to be 500 years old because of modern science, this fucking dude is paying her for the next
Right.
400 years.
Yeah, man, that makes you think twice about
It's
marriage,
incredible.
doesn't it?
It's stupid. And I'm married. And I'm
Right.
happy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I'm a happily married person. I love my wife. I love having a family. It's nice for me. It works. But it's stupid. Like the contract is dumb.
No.
It's a dumb legal contract, and it's an archaic one. And yeah, I can understand child support. I can understand all that stuff. I understand all that. But what drives me crazy is this idea that, in my friend's case, somehow or another, because he lived with her for 12 years. By the way, it was more than 12 years ago that they separated. So let's think of that. So, but because he lived with her for 12 years, he has somehow or another fucked her to the point where she can't work anymore. Like, he gave her so much dick during the time we were together. She's just discombobulated. She can't fill out a form. If you have a child, okay, when the child turns 18, you're no longer legally
you're done.
responsible.
Yeah.
That's an adult. They're gone. If you have child support, you don't have to pay it after 18.
Right.
When they become 18, you have to get a job, kid. You have to figure out a way to feed yourself. It's part of the growth of life. Not when you're a grown woman. And when you're a grown woman, and she was in her 40s when they broke up. And for whatever fucking reason, we have these wacky laws that state that this person doesn't have to work again forever. No children, by the way. No children.
That's completely
They never had
bullshit.
kids together.
What is it? Is 12 the magic number? Like if he was 11, then no, fuck it, you don't have to? Like what's
I
the
don't
deal
know.
there?
I think it varies, but I think in California, for whatever reason, it was 12. You know, I think 10 is the big one. Like 10 years is the big one. So it might have been that it was 10 because Ralphie May just got jacked. Apparently, his woman just divorced him after 10, and that's
10
the
in
number.
one
They
day.
wait until
Right.
10,
Yeah.
and at 10, the party begins.
So if you are thinking about it, 9.5 is the time to call it.
It's hard to imagine someone not being in your life, but yet you have to pay the money.
Yeah, that's fucked up. There's just no way around it.
But in his case, like his wife has children, or
Mm-hmm.
his ex-wife now has children from him, and so he is definitely financially responsible for her
Sure.
children, his children, their
Yeah.
their children,
That's
and I think he should pay alimony because she has to take care of those kids,
Right.
and she can't really work. Like, she's not like a free person
Sure.
who's single. But if you're a free person that's single, I can understand you needing a couple years to get on your feet.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what I mean
Yeah.
about the grays. It's like one is one extreme,
Yeah.
one is you get nothing. Couple
No,
of years, fair enough. You know,
You shouldn't. I mean, if you live with a woman and for 10 years you're married and for 10 years she doesn't have to work because
Yeah.
you're some fucking diamond merchant in downtown LA or
Right.
something like that, and you break up with her and then, you're like, get out of the house, bitch. You're on your own. She
Yeah,
doesn't have
yeah.
any skills.
No,
she doesn't
that's
have
fucked up.
anything.
I get
That's
that.
fucked up.
couple of years is fair.
Yeah.
Something like that is a reasonable
Yes.
compromise.
But there's this weird thing that they do where it's called the quality of life. You're supposed to maintain the same
yeah.
quality of life. Like, what?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
So if you're living with like Kobe Bryant, like Kobe Bryant's wife, like she's responsible for his children, so she should certainly get money. But how much money, man? How does she get hundreds of millions of dollars? Like, how does that work?
Forever.
Forever,
Yeah, that's nuts.
to the end of time, till the day they die. And if you don't have a prenup, it could get ugly, son.
Yep. And he's like, no, a prenup is not romantic. Like, fuck you. This is a contract anyway. The whole thing is a contract that involves the state. That it's,
And if
Yeah.
you don't have a prenup, believe me, those conversations get way more intense when things get ugly.
Yeah.
When a woman knows there's no prenup
You're
involved.
fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
No,
I have a
it's-
buddy who doesn't have a prenup, and him and his wife are fighting. And I go, do you have a prenup? And he goes, no. I go, oh, no. How dare you?
You are screwed.
And he said, we were having a conversation about it. He's like, I couldn't figure out a way to, like, justify having a prenup. I go, here's a way. if you're in love and you're married together and you're going to be together forever, the prenup doesn't mean shit.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
If you really plan on being together forever. But if that person wants to fucking abandon ship and then drain you like a fucking plug at the bottom of a bathtub, plunk, bloop, 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 that's when you need a prenup.
Yep.
Because if you're going to break up, that's when a prenup comes into play. And then you need it.
Oh, big
and you
time.
should have it, right?
Yep.
But if you're going to be together forever, the prenup doesn't mean a goddamn thing because you're going to be together forever. So don't worry about it. Get a fucking prenup, silly bitch. It only becomes a factor if you get divorced. That's why any woman that says, you want to have a prenup, you don't think it's going to last?
Yep.
No, I think it is going to last. But if it doesn't,
You're right.
that's fucking, the logic of not having a prenup is insane. If we break up, I want to get financially fucked.
Right.
That's how much I love you,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly. That's
How much I want to stay together. I want to stay together with you under the threat of being financially ruined.
Because otherwise it's not true love. No,
This
it's
fucking chick said to me the other day, it was hilarious. She goes, well, I'll tell you what, more and more women today are paying alimony. I go, name one.
no. Exactly.
Silence. Roseanne Barr. That's all they say. Roseanne Barr. Tom Arnold. She paid Tom Arnold. Okay, we got one under our belt.
Great. Tough.
So it's one victory as opposed to what? What? Hundreds of millions of guys that have been fucked over by the system?
Yeah, I actually don't even get the whole idea of marriage. And I don't mean like committed relationship. I get that. I get all that. But why the fuck do you need to bring in the state and lawyers? And
Because it's a business.
That's what I mean. It's like, if it's a relationship, why do you need to bring all this shit in?
Well, it's a business in terms of like there's a business of the diamonds, Is 3 months too much to ask? Like those fucking diamond merchants.
Fuck that.
I'm bringing them up again. I don't know why. But diamonds, the idea that 3 months salary, 3 months,
Yeah.
that is fucking crazy. If a guy has to work 3 months out of a whole year for a little rock that goes around your finger just to show you he loves you.
No, fuck
Is
that.
3 months too much to ask?
That would be a deal breaker right off the bat. It's like, what?
First of all-
you fucking want what? You want a giant
months?
rock that costs thousands of dollars? Fuck off. I
First
have
of all-
nothing in common with you. I'm done.
Most people don't have enough money to get by, period. Like
Yeah.
they're scraping. Most people are going pretty much check to check. They have like, a little bit of money in the bank in case fucking shit goes terribly wrong. But they don't have 3 months worth
Yeah.
of money in the bank. So what are you going to do? For 3 months, I'm going to suffer so that you can have a rock on your
Yeah.
finger? What am I going to do? I'm going to eat potato chips for lunch and fucking starve to death? Ramen noodles at dinner every night? Oh, I saved $20 today. Throw that in the jar.
Right.
That goes into the diamond jar.
No, but that to me is the ultimate bullshit. It's like, seriously, even do people actually fucking like diamonds? It's not. It's a
Yes.
status symbol. Come on. It's
Chicks
like half.
do.
You
They
can get
love
like
it.
a fucking fake thing that looks exactly the same, and unless you are a jeweler with a fucking.
But it's not the same.
But that's what I mean. It's like it's about it costs a shitload of money. It's a symbol. It's not the real thing. It's like what can you do with 3 months' salary? You can do so much fucking good stuff. How about we do that to celebrate the wedding or whatever the hell?
Blah, blah,
Rather-
blah, blah, blah. Give me the rock, bitch. My aunt got fucked over. She married this guy who was real shady. He was always shady, like from the beginning.
Yeah.
And she had a nice wedding ring, a nice fat rock. When they got divorced, she went and got it checked out. Cubic zirconia.
That's the way you do it.
Yep, she fucked him over. He got her a fake rock.
That's the way to do it.
They look so real, man. It's hard to tell. I mean, I guess a diamond merchant can tell like
yeah,
that.
of course. But
so
you're not
what?
a fucking diamond merchant, so how about we don't deal with that?
It's not like having a fake Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like a fake Ferrari will drive like shit.
Exactly.
You know,
that's real.
Yeah.
There's something real there.
Yeah.
The diamond thing, there's nothing.
So crazy. I know a lady who's a billionaire. Her and her husband. Her husband's this very, very wealthy tycoon type character. He's kind of hilarious. He dresses like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. He has like those little outfits on. Throws these magical parties in Malibu where it's just fucking just huge, crazy parties that probably cost like $1 million. The guy's an animal. But he got her this rock that I don't know enough about diamonds to say how much it costs, but it's well over $1 million.
Jesus Christ.
Well over. It's huge. I mean, it's like a watch. It's a Flava Flav watch hanging. It's like a clock on her finger. It's so big. What is this? Is this a new guy she's with?
Yes, this just came out this weekend. 35-carat diamond ring.
What?
That makes me
Who is
throw
this
up.
dude she's with?
Some billionaire from Australia. I don't know
Well, look
who
at
that
him.
is.
Let me see what he looks like. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
f-
looks like you need a 35 carat to get
Isn't
laid
she like
ever.
50? 45?
45, it says, yeah.
She's still hot?
Yeah.
How's that ass look? Big, right?
Yeah.
Big and juicy. Pow pow! Look at that ring. She was like much smaller and thinner when she was younger, huh?
Bon bon.
Not that I like that. That's 35 carats? That's what that is?
Yeah, I was expecting bigger. I don't know.
Yeah, I was
But
too. I'm telling you, the lady that I know, her ring is bigger than that.
Yeah, that shit makes me
Like, how much
Project-
does that cost?
projectile vomiting
say
just
I was
looking
looking.
at this.
Yeah, that's probably $1 million. There's a lot. Like, you remember when J Lo and Ben Affleck were a character? They were one.
Yeah. We are delving
What do you-
deeper and
Hear a
deeper.
fucking great story. A great story.
Do tell.
I know a dude who's a construction guy, and he was dealing with them at the time, and allegedly, the story is that J Lo, Ben Affleck had like a full basketball court that he had
Yep.
at his place. She wanted to take the basketball court apart and put it in her house, like as a surprise, like to
Yeah.
surprise him. And the guy's like, "What? No, I'm not doing that." But can you imagine what kind of fucking craziness that bitch has in her head? Like, she's like, "I'm just gonna move his favorite place to my place. That way, when he has his basketball games, he'll have to have it at my house." Like, what? Like, she wanted to move it. Like, take it, put it in my. I want it.
Man.
It's mine. He's mine. Put his basketball court in my house now.
I like the impersonation.
Oh my god.
People do some crazy shit to get into relationships. I mean, it's like putting up with people with the weirdest requests, the weirdest idiosyncrasies. It's like, fuck that. I don't need it that bad. I don't know, man. I don't get it. It's
Do you
like,
ever call a friend and his wife answers his cell phone?
no, I'm missing out on that experience. You get that a lot?
I've had that happen more than once, and I'd lose all respect for that guy unless he's in the middle of fucking holding up a pan of hot oil that he's carrying
Right.
to the stove or something, and it's an emergency phone call or something. I mean, why the fuck would your wife answer your cell phone?
I think that's
In an accusatory way. Hello?
right. Who is it? It was no, fuck that.
This is Joe. Is Dave there? Joe who? Joe Rogan? Hold on. Hey, Dave, why is your fucking wife answering your phone
Yeah, that's-
like I'm some chick who's calling or a gay lover, you fucking weirdo? How about you keep your phone in your pocket, bitch? Don't let her have it.
No, that I think that's like ultimate insecurity right there. Is like
Yeah.
I can't score a hot woman, so if I
Oh,
can
yeah.
score one, I'm just gonna hold on to her, no matter how batshit crazy she gets. I'm gonna put up with anything because I'm afraid to be alone. That I think, speaking of the book stuff, that's one of the things that I noticed changing in me. For the longest time, I had these exact dynamics that I'm criticizing. I had them in me, right? I was like, I don't want to be alone. If I'm with a
course.
hot woman, I want to stick to her, and she does some crazy shit. That's totally fine. It's like,
Right.
that's fear. That's insecurity. That's if I let her go, I'll never get laid with a hot woman again kind of thing. And at one point, I think it's like I had dealt with enough shit that something snapped in me where I was just like, you know what? From now on, and I don't even mean it in a bad way, I don't fucking want to make one compromise in my life. You know, if I have to be anything other than who I am 24/7, I don't want to be with you. You may be a nice person. I'm not criticizing you, but I don't want you in my life.
Right,
You know,
but
it's
what
like,
if you smoke a joint with her and she throws that pussy around like fucking John Elway, just with the long yards? Woo! God damn! Whack! Like when Elway whacks that ball.
that helps for those 2 hours, but then there's the rest of your life. So those 2 hours were great. Now let's move on to something
Yeah,
else.
but then when you're at work, you're thinking about those 2 hours. You gotta loosen up the tie. Woo! God damn it! You know?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
No, you
like
give up
Jordan
something.
going for a layup. Woo! Like flying from the 3-point
Right.
line right through the net. This bitch is hot.
Yep. That's why
And
you
then you know if you break up with her, that phone is just ringing off the hook from dudes trying to get a hold of that voodoo pussy. Right? What are you going to do?
No,
You're just going to be cool and calm and collected?
You got to.
You're going to try.
Because otherwise it fucks up the rest of your life. Or even if it was every single day, that is the most magical sex in the world for those 2 hours that you spend, there are 22 more hours.
Just sleep a lot.
Then it's all okay, right? Then you can put up with it and it's all worth it.
I know this dude he was a mobster. And he talked about going to jail. Going to jail was no big deal. The key was you got to sleep your time away. He would sleep like 18 hours a day.
Hey, that works.
And I was like, really? Like, yeah, that's what you got to do. Just sleep your time away. A lot of people are up. They're doing push-ups. Not me. I sleep my time away. By the time you know it, 2 years is gone. It's nothing. I slept. I got rest. Okay.
18 hours a day. Jesus.
He's an asshole. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's some girls are just so hot. And then
Sure.
it's also like there's something else that's going on. Love is real. And emotions are real, and appreciating someone is real, and there's definitely that. But there's also some biological tricks that go on when you connect with someone and you have sex with them. There's like some weird sort of possessive tricks where your DNA doesn't want them to be with anyone else because your DNA wants to procreate with them, and that's where you have to protect this one person who you're shooting loads into, who you're gonna have babies with. Where you going? What are you talking to that guy? I saw the way that guy hugged you. Like all this craziness that comes about, you that person becomes you.
Right.
They become your property, but you can't control them. And then if they're freaky, if they're crazy, freaky bitches, you got to go, this crazy, freaky bitch is probably crazy with other dudes too. And then she's probably been crazy, freaky bitch with other dudes before me. So now I have to think that those dudes know that she's slinging that fucking superstitious pussy out there.
Superstitious. That's
Yeah.
a new one. I don't think anybody ever in the history of mankind used those two words together. That's a first.
She's got some fucking voodoo pussy. She's got some supernatural pussy. It's people that can do things better, and includes fucking. You know, like everybody. Have you dated a girl who was really hot, but she's terrible in bed?
No, I miss out on that experience.
Well, I only had a couple of them, but I had one of them. I was like, I gotta stop. We just gotta stop doing this.
Really? Was that
Yeah.
bad?
Yeah, she's just for all sorts of reasons, I guess. Like maybe it wasn't her fault. Maybe she was just like insecure or uncomfortable or unaware, or you know, it was just, it turned out later on that I found that she had like a coke problem that I wasn't aware of.
That would.
That I've never done it, but apparently that just blocks you off from like emotional
What, she
connections.
just kind
with
of
people.
frigid? Is that what made bad
I
sex
mean,
for
it was
her? or-
okay. It wasn't good.
Oh.
You know,
That
it's like
sucks.
the girl that I dated before her was a freak. So I was like, oh,
By
yeah,
comparison, you're like,
boring.
this
Yeah.
sucks.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like when someone's just when they're all in, you know, and then the next girl's not all in. You're like, gotta find someone who's all
Yep.
in. I'm here to gamble.
Time for the next one. Yeah.
I'm not here to play penny slots. I'm here to push a fucking mortgage into the center of the table and go, come on! What are we doing here? That's where the excitement is, right?
What do you make of the Chris Ryan ability to instead turn off the exact thing you are talking about, sort of that DNA, like you're mine, you know, the possessiveness, the jealousy, all of that, the whole...
Chris Ryan ability? What do you mean?
Well, you know, his whole theory about just fuck monogamy. It's all
Yeah.
about happy monkeys having sex with each other and just let it be.
Well, I think that's something that you can learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really, when you boil down to what it really is, when you boil it down to, you know, if you can be objective about it, if it's at all possible, it's pleasure. Like, why should you be the only person that can give that person pleasure?
Right.
Why should that person be the only place where you get pleasure? Are we slaves to these ancient emotions and ancient connections that we
Right.
have to other human beings that were really based on scarcity? I think whenever things are based on scarcity, you know, the idea that you'll be alone. If you don't have her, I'll be alone forever.
Right.
It's like famine thinking.
Yeah.
Like if I don't eat this meal, there'll be no more meals.
Mm-hmm.
There's that famine thinking when it comes to friends. Like, if you ever have a friend, like, what are you hanging out with them for? Or you fucking don't even hang out with me anymore?
Yeah.
Like, that's the surest way to lose a friend.
Absolutely.
Become, like, really needy where
Yeah.
you get upset that friend hangs out with other friends. That's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah.
People like that are ridiculous. And I've had friends like that before.
Yeah.
That get, well, you know, only when I was younger. When you're younger, you're sort of figuring out what style of
Sure.
person you are and how do you live your life and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And you know, the people that are like that, whether they're aware or not, they're just incredibly manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
They might not even be aware of why or what they're doing. But when it comes to relationships, a lot of times people also mirror the family that they grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you grew up in a really jealous, really abusive family,
Sure.
it can mirror itself.
Yep.
You know, mirror itself in you, or it could be the exact opposite, where you see how retarded your parents were, and you're like, well, fuck that. I'm not going to be like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Chris is obviously a very brilliant guy, and Chris Ryan's book, which is an excellent book, which is, you know, really highly respected. I think he's got some real good points, and if you can intellectualize it and be objective, yeah, you know, if you're happy living that life, he's happy.
Yeah.
You know, and he knows a lot of people that also live like that are happy. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, exactly. I mean, to me, the argument he lays out makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's right. It's just for a lot of people, it's hard to get over those. But you know, they still are possessive and jealous and all of that, and they can't deal with the idea that somebody they love is supposed to be only me. Fuck this. You can't have sex with somebody else. They flip out. But yeah, to me, when you think about it, it doesn't really make sense.
Well, you know what else doesn't make sense? Monogamy doesn't make sense, but neither does polygamy. None of it makes sense. Like, you should do whatever you want.
Right.
Like, if you're into monogamy is great.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Exactly. If it works for you,
Yeah.
why shouldn't you?
And
That's
by the
great.
way, it doesn't work with I mean, if you find one person and it doesn't work with them, then that's not the one you should be monogamous with. But it doesn't mean that you can't be monogamous with somebody else. Or maybe even that same person at another stage of your life. You know, like sometimes things change.
I agree
You change.
completely with you. Like, to me, the Chris Ryan idea is the one that makes the most sense logically and philosophically.
Right.
But every single time I've tried to throw it out there at some lady I wanted to get in a relationship with, the discussion was invariably, it makes sense, I get your point, but no, sorry, it's
Yeah.
not going to go. And then it's a choice, right? It's like, do I want it anyway, giving up this philosophical, it sounds cooler or not? And the times when I have gone for it, and so it was then a monogamous relationship, I was totally fine with it. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I spend my days thinking about what I'm missing. I was completely happy with it.
Right.
So I'm completely with you there. To me, it's not it has to be one way or the other. It's whatever works at the end of the day. But whatever works means also having the flexibility to say maybe the traditional monogamous way is not the only fucking way. You know,
Yeah.
maybe there are other ways to go about it that are just as good.
Well, there certainly are other ways to go about it. I mean, there's people that live in like a house, and it's a man with like 3 women,
Right.
You know, or a woman with 3 men, and wasn't that like a fucking drug dealer movie? They're like, wasn't that like an Oliver Stone
Don't
movie
remember
where there's
this
a
one.
chick and 2 dudes, and they used to have threesomes, and
Oh,
someone
yeah,
kidnapped the
Savages.
chicks? Looks so stupid.
Savages,
Was it
yeah,
as
yeah.
stupid as it looked?
I haven't seen the movie. I read the book. The book was actually awesome.
Yeah.
The movie, I tried to watch it. I quit 10 minutes in.
It always looks great on paper. You know, it's very hard for people to pull off that open relationship unless they're disgusting. I'll tell you what,
Right.
you want to see disgusting people? Go to a swingers convention. Ugh, just fucking people. Ari and I were in, I think we were in Nashville, and we did a whole weekend at this place, and we had this guy drive us around. You know, we hired a car service and got the same guy to take us to the airport, from the airport, and we became friendly with him. And as he's taking us to the airport at the end of the weekend, starts opening up about being a swinger.
Okay.
Like out of nowhere, man. We're fucking driving to the airport. He goes, hey, well, next time you guys in town, I'd be happy to take you to a swingers party. We're like, what? Huh? What are you talking about? So the dude opens up that him and his missus have this relationship where he can decide like whether or not she sleeps with other men. He can give the veto.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Like, no,
and
I
she-
veto this one. Okay, yes, that was.
yeah.
Wow.
So I go, well, how do you decide? He goes, if I don't like someone, I just don't, I don't want it happening. I go, like what? Like some hulking 6'5"
Right.
football player with a giant hog, a hog as thick as your calf. Like, is that what it is? And like he started getting uncomfortable, and I'm like, well, how can you be uncomfortable, man? You just open up the door,
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
that, you know, like what is it that turns you off, like about some guy banging your woman?
Right.
Like, what's the big deal? He couldn't answer.
He was done.
Entirely.
He regretted starting the conversation.
Well, we got deep into it with him in the few minutes that we had left before we got to the airport, but we were laughing the entire flight home.
Cab drivers must get so bored sometimes because you get in the weird. Like I was with Duncan in where were we? In Wisconsin. We got off the plane, got in this cab, and the second we closed the door, the guy started his monologue, right? It's like the cab driver started, let me tell you about our governor. Our governor sucks because, and he started like this 15-minute monologue where he went on, and he clearly was just itching to get it off his chest, wanted to.
Yeah.
And that guy and I were looking at each other like, what the fuck is this about? You know, it's like,
You can't tell him to shut the fuck up.
no, we
either.
haven't invited the conversation. We are not really even participating. And he just started from second one, kept it up to the last second. And
That's the
then-
difference between like a limo driver and an Uber driver too. Like if you get a limo, they kind of like hello sir, let me open up the car door
and
for you,
that's
sir.
it.
It's like it's like going to a really nice hotel,
Right.
versus like a shitty motel where the person at the reception is smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
You know, you get what you pay for.
But then again, Duncan B. Duncan, he managed to use that material for a comedy beat, and he was awesome. He made it brilliant. So I was like, hey, look at that. You know, out of this shitty conversation came out this awesome bit
Yeah.
that he did. So.
Well, yeah, if someone's completely retarded or someone's completely out of whack, you could definitely make a good sketch about it. This guy in Nashville, I still think about this guy. Every time I go there, I'm just hoping I get him as a driver, just so I can see. So give me an update, man. Haven't seen you in a couple of years. How's it all working out?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm back there in May. I'm in May 19th, I think, or 20th. I'm in Nashville. So I hope I'll find that dude. I'm really thinking about
So
finding him.
everybody in Nashville, please ask your cab driver what they think about swinging, and if you catch the right guy, send him back to Joe to pick him up at the airport, because
They have clubs they go to. They have specific swinging clubs. I'm like, well, how does that work? It's like everybody just, sits on people's laps. You go to people, but they all probably looked like him. He looked disgusting. He was like a balding dude with a ponytail, and he was tall, but he had a gut, and like he was just skinny but fat.
Yeah, because these things sound awesome where you have your Playboy fantasy and everybody look like they are out of, then it's awesome, right?
Yeah,
But
nope.
sometimes when you see the reality, you're like, oh, that's not what I had in mind at all. This sucks.
Yeah, the reality is most people that want to do that, they don't have a whole lot of other options. It's not like,
Right.
but there's probably only like one super hot slutty girl that goes to those things, just loves being the belle of the ball.
Right.
Because if you go to like a swingers thing and you're actually hot, you're a hot girl.
Everybody wants you.
Do you remember there was a Showtime show for a while about people that were involved in like these big swinging sort of relationships?
No, what was it?
It was a terrible show, but it was really weird because they would show them getting together and making out and doing all this stuff together, but it was like in this obviously like really well lit room while they were filming. Because like they have these cameras on. Like these people are supposed to like, okay, everybody act normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's
you're
like
not
with the camera up your ass. So
Yeah.
was this a reality show or something?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. It was on Showtime.
No.
Yeah, it was a polyamorous show. You found it? Was it? It was called polyamory. Yeah, that was it. It was gross. Ugh, get out of there with that. A very modern family. Okay, it's not modern.
Wow.
They've been doing that forever. Okay, it's odd. But there's always like one dude who's like, says like, this is way people should be, man. They should just relax and just enjoy each other's company, man.
To me, that's the thing. Is like, fuck should. There's no should.
Yeah.
Whatever you're happy with. If it works for you, it works for you. Good.
Exactly.
It's end of story.
Who gives a shit?
No.
Do whatever you want. What makes you happy that doesn't fuck over everyone else
That's a
or
good-
anyone else or the environment? But people can say that, if you want a fucking open relationship, it fucks over my life, Daniele. Do you understand? I need a man, a real man, a man who doesn't want another woman. It shouldn't be a compromise. It should be what you want. Meanwhile, she's got a stack of romance novels and lives based on this fucking artificial narrative created by these fiction writers. Fucking fiction.
Hate that shit.
What about those 50 Shades of Grey bitches? I want to find those. 'Cause there's an untapped freak vein out there in America.
A big one.
Big one. A lot of chicks want to get choked and they're just not getting choked. What is that about, man?
That I don't get.
We don't
I
get it,
honestly
and we
don't
never
get
will.
it.
That's the male-female dynamic, unfettered, unrestrained, that we don't understand. We're never going to understand it.
Some of that shit is entirely above
I
my
want you
head.
to try to wrap your head around this mental exercise. Imagine you're a woman who is going to take a condom that a guy came in and squirt the contents inside your pussy?
Yeah, not a
Can't imagine it.
no.
But those people are real.
Yeah.
So imagine that a man who doesn't want to have a baby with you, but you want to have a baby with this motherfucker. How do I do this? I'm going to take the condom, I'm going to stuff it in my pussy, and I'm going to squeeze it out, and I'm going to get my fingers in there, and I'm going to fucking shove it in there. I'm going to try to...
Wow.
I'm sure people have gotten pregnant that way,
Oh,
right?
I'm sure. I mean,
Do all condoms come with spermicide? A lot of them do, right? They
Yeah,
have
'cause-
like a little spermy side in there that kills them, little fuckers.
wow. There's some weird fucking people out there.
Right, but that's a human thing. Like, there's people that want to be connected so badly to someone that they'll lie about being on
Yeah.
the pill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had friends that they were having sex with a girl, and the girl was like, just don't, I'm not on the pill, but just you could pull out. So they're like, okay. You know, when your dick's hard, you have like 10% mental capacity that you're operating on, right? And so they tried to pull out, and the girl wrapped their legs around him and wouldn't let him pull out.
Serious.
Yeah.
What the
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah. More than one guy's had that happen.
Yeah,
I've talked to more than one guy that
Really?
has happened, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I've heard like I'm on the pill where it's bullshit and they get pregnant.
Oh,
I've heard
yeah.
that a million times.
I've heard that
but
too.
No, I haven't heard this one. That's just weird.
Yeah, trick pregnancy is fucking crazy because it's terrifying that not only did you fuck up so hard that you got someone pregnant you didn't want to get pregnant, but they tricked you. They
Yeah.
lied to you, and this is the type of person that you now have a child with. So you have to raise a child with a liar, a manipulative liar who decided to get pregnant. Like, oof, boy.
Oh yeah, there's a couple that I know where the lady got pregnant intentionally after telling him, no chance in hell.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this is under the file. This is the perfect family that then they tell their kids never have sex before marriage, And I remember talking with their kid, like one of their kids was like 14 and was telling me all about, oh shit, but they say no sex before marriage, this, and they stuck to it. And I'm like, no, they didn't. I know what the fuck they did. Your mom was banging guys when she was 14. And he was like,
my mom and dad met in Bible class, and my mom was pure.
no, the guy flipped. He was like, serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm not lying to you. That's where it's at. And he was like, holy shit. I was like, yeah, man, sorry. They just fed you a bunch of bullshit. But at least you can relax and have sex now. Just, don't.
Just the idea that someone would be so manipulative and so self-centered that they would decide to have a baby with someone against that person's will.
No, that's when you know you seriously have problems. That's where you're mentally fucked in the head, big time.
You're not just mentally fucked. You're now connected to this person. You're not just mentally fucked and manipulative and evil, but you're connected to a person who had a baby with you.
Yeah.
And it was all because you lied.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's weird. It's weird. Sex is weird because it makes people. It doesn't just feel good. Like if it was just like hugging or just like, being affectionate and just making out and like, oh, that's all great, But it makes people.
Yeah.
Like blowjobs don't make people. They're awesome, but they do not make people.
Yeah.
Fucking actually makes people. Like what a bizarre way of reproducing.
Tell me about it.
Like you're drawn to someone, you can't live without them. The touch is so magical. You're I'm gonna come inside you. Oh, I can't believe it.
Baby.
Person.
Yeah.
What? Ridiculous.
That's when you got to think that the universe has been designed by somebody with lots of sense of humor, if there is any design behind it. Because it's like so much of this shit is just funny, It's just like, come on,
It's funny, but it all makes sense. I mean, this is the only way to really truly ensure that people have sex when times are tough and the world is rough, and logically and intellectually you wouldn't have a baby, but you have a baby and you have to figure out a way to hide it from the barbarian hordes.
Yep.
Because you love it so much and you have these urges. And meanwhile, the reason why the barbarian hordes are showing up in the first place is because they're looking for pussy. The whole thing's crazy.
That's human history in
What
a
is
nutshell.
this? Some condoms used to contain spermicides, but most don't. It's best to use condoms without spermicide. Says who? The person who wants babies? You fuck.
It says what I was looking at right now says spermicide can actually increase chances of STIs such as HIV and chlamydia because it can cause irritation, which can lead to the rubbing and blood.
Maybe on your dick, bro. Not mine. My dick laughs at spermicide. My dick's like, whatever, bro. But if you have like lambskin, I think lambskin condoms, you can get pregnant anyway. Like the jizz can get through those things. And I definitely know the diseases can.
I thought it was no pregnancy, but yes, diseases.
I want to know how when heterosexual
Otherwise-
people like Charlie Sheen gets HIV.
Yeah.
Come on, Charlie. You come clean about everything. What were you doing? I want to know what you were doing.
Right.
Were you sharing needles with somebody? Like, what were you doing? Did you take it in the booty?
Right.
What were you doing? There's no shame in your game.
Right.
Come on, man. Come
There's no
clean.
shame.
Come clean.
Yeah, but the problem is that in Charlie Sheen's case, I don't think he remembers. He's
Probably,
like,
right?
I don't know. I'm sure I did something, but who knows?
He's so hilarious because when he came out and talked about it, it wasn't like he wants to set the record straight. He just doesn't want to pay anybody anymore. So he decided to just put a stop to all the financial
Yeah.
bleeding that was going on in his life. Boy, that's an interesting tale, the Charlie Sheen tale, because it went from a tale of sort of almost like heroic excess to like a sadness thing.
Yeah, big time.
You ever see his teeth?
No.
They're like falling out of his head. Yeah.
What,
There's like
what kind
photos
of
of
drugs
his,
were...
I don't know. I guess smoking crack's not good for your teeth.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
I would guess that.
Fuck
that's
with
a
the
safe
enamel.
bet. Wow.
One of his girls that he used to date says his fucking teeth are all falling out.
Oh,
And then if you see him when he smiles like this, like he's got like his lips are curled over his teeth.
Yike.
Yeah, it's like it seems fun when you hear about it. He's doing blow, and that's how he rolls,
Right.
and he's having hookers, but then at the end of it, you realize like, oh, this guy's probably like completely out of control.
Yeah.
You know, and probably a slave to these chemicals, but also talented enough that he can figure out a way to make exorbitant amounts of money, and he has really smart people behind him. Because he went from that 2.5 Men show where he made exorbitant amounts of money to this other show, which was a terrible show.
Which one was it?
The Anger Management.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible
yes,
show. But he got an insane deal
Yeah.
where they filmed all 100 episodes like really quickly, and so he made hundreds of millions of dollars.
They were afraid it would unravel in 2
No,
months. so-
it's a thing where it's like a guaranteed syndication deal. Where if they did, they would do like a 1090. Like the way a show would work, like you would do 13 episodes, and then you would do the back 9. And the back 9 would equal 22, which is a real season. So like when we first did News Radio, I think the first season we did like 13 episodes. And then if you get a pickup, everybody gets excited. Oh, we got a pickup for the back 9. So what they decided to do instead of that was do a 1090. So you do the first 10 episodes. And if the first 10 episodes go well, you get picked up for the full 100.
Wow.
Yeah. So the idea is like, look, we've got a hit on our hands. Let's negotiate accordingly.
Let's go
You know,
with
we
it.
got Charlie Sheen. I don't know if you know, but Charlie Sheen was a big part of Anger Man or 2.5 Men. Made billions of dollars for the network, and we can do the same thing for UFX. And so they bought hook, line, and sinker into this deal, and it just fucking went right into the shitter.
No success whatsoever. Like, it was
know.
just that not only it sucked, but nobody watched it, or what?
That's a good question.
Because I imagine
people
that
watched it in the
people would
beginning.
watch Charlie Sheen just because it's like a train wreck about to happen, you know?
Well, it was not a bad show at first. You know, it was one of those shows where people watched it and it got like fair. It's hard to do a good sitcom, man. There's not a lot of good writers. You have to have really good, dedicated writers that are funny, and then you have to have an actor who knows how to pull it off. You have to have a showrunner who's got experience in putting those things together. There's an art form to creating a sitcom, all itself. You know, I was on one for 5 years, and I got to see it pretty intimately from a bunch of different levels, from like the level of like really talented, really smart actors who can figure out how to manipulate a scene and make it funny, and the level of really smart, really good writers who really know how to craft a scene, and then networks with good ideas and networks with shit ideas, and then you got to put them all together, and good luck. And then you have to, back then, you had to have a good time slot, too. That was a big part of it, because people had to know that you were on.
Again, now times have changed, right? Nobody
Nobody gives a
fucking
fuck
cares
about
about it
time
anymore.
slot.
It's just not even an issue.
Well, that's why Netflix has got it down. Watch it whenever you want.
Yep.
Not only that, the whole season comes out at once.
That's beautiful. Right?
That's the best way.
I can watch things one episode 1 week, 1 episode the next. That to me is bullshit. I wait for the season to be over.
Do you?
I'll try to just tune spoilers out, and if I catch them, I'll forget anyway. It doesn't matter, and just binge on it once it comes out and just watch everything in 2-3 days and be done with it.
I don't know. I watch Walking Dead every week.
Yeah,
That's
really,
one.
you'd watch
Yeah.
it like just
But I
one
don't watch it on
episode.
TV. I don't watch it like while it's on TV. I
Sure.
watch it on iTunes the next day.
Oh.
I watch it on Apple TV.
No, I wait for
Fuck,
the season.
fuck those commercials. That's ridiculous. What do I have to pay? $5
Yeah.
to not have a commercial? Fuck you.
Totally worth it.
That's my time is way more valuable than those 15-minute chunks where you just interrupt with stupid music and dancing frogs or whatever the fuck you Geico. You know, oh, I'm selling insurance. Fuck, you just ruined this zombie show. You ruined the mood.
That show is awesome.
It's a good show.
That show, I dig it.
You know
But
what's the
yeah,
better one?
Which
The
one?
LA one.
I saw that one. The
Better
Fear
show.
the Walking Dead.
Yeah. They only did a few episodes, but it's a really well directed and well shot show and really well acted.
The only thing I agree with you. It's awesome. It's very well done. The only thing I didn't dig were the characters. You know, the characters of the main story of The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's some cool characters that you dig, that you care about them.
Right.
These guys, you kind of want them to all get eaten by zombies. You know, it's just like you don't give a fuck about any of them. They are all like, ugh.
I want the woman to freak out. She doesn't seem to freak out very
Enough,
easy.
yes.
Yeah, she's like real, almost too calm. She should be shitting her pants.
Yeah.
People are eating people all around you, bitch. Your neighbors are monsters.
Yeah.
They haven't turned into like zombie looking either. They haven't deteriorated enough
Yeah,
yet.
it's the beginning when they still look mostly human. And, yeah.
I'd like it though. I think it takes time to develop those characters, but like as far as the way it's shot and acted, it seems like it's a
It's
better
great.
show. Daniele, we're almost out of time, my friend. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Cool.
What else going on? I should tell people about History on Fire for sure. Your
Sure.
amazing podcast,
Thank you, my man.
and you opened up first episode with that. Well, not first episode, but episode not 0, but episode
Yeah.
1 was with one of my favorite stories you've ever told. That fucked up story about the crucifixions.
If you want some fucked up stories, the latest one I think was episode 5, as a story that make the crucifixion look like a Disney movie.
What's it about?
There's a story. It's a complicated, long story, but to go for the essential element, there's like these two Persian brothers or princes who are fighting for this in this civil war for power, and the mom of both of the guys is pissed when one of them got killed, and so at one point she's really pissed off, and she wants the guy who actually killed their son to be executed, but she can't really go to her other son and say execute this motherfucker because he was obeying the other son's orders, right? So she find a way for him to fuck up, for him to say something that will piss off her other son, the king. And then the way they execute this dude is they put him in a box with only his head, his arm, and his legs sticking out, but his whole body is trapped in this box. They force feed him honey and other weird shit that for the next few days, the guy is being force fed, starts shitting all over inside the box. This attracts maggots, like flies, that lay maggots in there and stuff, and they literally start walking their way inside of him. So he has maggots hatching inside of him and eating him for the next 2 weeks. Under the file Happy Tales from the Ancient World, the kind of crazy shit that human beings... I mean, what crazy motherfuckers sit down and think, I want to kill somebody, but I don't just want to kill him. Let's figure out... I mean...
A slow, torturous method
Yeah.
of killing someone.
That's pretty fucking weird, if you ask
People are
me.
goddamn creative. Like when
Yeah.
you look at what they did during the Inquisition, all the different ways they killed people.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, the Game of Thrones one where they put a rat on your stomach, put a plate on it, and light. That's a true story. That's like Inquisition stuff. They did that for real. Yeah. But actually, just so not all of History on Fire is about crazy gross stuff. There are actually some pleasant stories here and there. But yeah, of course, the intense, weird moments are there as well. There's one that you would dig. I think the episode 3 was about the Iceman, the guy that they found in the Alps from 5,000 years ago. And it's kind of like this murder mystery because we have found out that he was shot with an arrow. We found all these things about his life. And there are some crazy-ass details that archaeology can give us about this guy's life, what he was doing. There's evidence that he may have been doing acupuncture 2,000 years before it was ever done in China. There were like crazy stuff
Really?
about... Yeah, there's...
What was the evidence of him doing acupuncture? They found needles?
No, they found like these tattoos, but they're not tattoos like artistic tattoos. They're like dots and lines, and they are all along acupuncture points. They are all along points where he was in pain. So they think that it was kind of some primitive form of acupuncture that you would dig in that spot with needles and then you would seal it with like possibly like the way they do moksha, where they burn herbs on that spot and it leaves. That's probably how those tattoos originated.
Wow.
And it's trippy. It's like that rewrites history in so many ways. Like 2000, some crazy European 2000 years before acupuncture was in China was doing something very similar to that. It's pretty weird in itself. Never mind the whole murder mystery aspect of it also. I don't know, I dig these stories. There are so many out there in history that I have a field day just picking one and then researching the hell out of it for a couple of months.
Well, there was another new one they were saying rewrites history. They found a mammoth, a dead body of a mammoth that had clear evidence of human predation, like one of the ribs had been shattered, they think with a spear or something like that. But the problem was it was 45,000 years old in Siberia, and they didn't even know the people were there back then.
Right.
So like they got to go, okay, well, I guess we're a little off here with the time too. It just keeps going on and on. I don't remember the exact specific details of this story. That's almost the problem with the overabundance of stories on the internet. You almost get too many of them.
I know.
They're just coming at you all day.
I was telling that to Jamie right before we started. I was like, Jesus Christ, I love internet, but at the same time, I need to get out of the way sometime because it's just too much stuff. There's good stuff, but too much.
You could go down a motherfucking rabbit hole. I went down a penis operation rabbit hole the other day. Somebody sent me a link. Matt Staggs actually sent me a link to some guy who grew back his foreskin. And I was like, all right, let's see what he did. So this guy like put like weights and stretched out his foreskin and all this different shit. And so then from that, like the suggestions over the right-hand side on YouTube, one of them was like this penis operation. I was like, oh, Christ. So then I go to this thing and this guy is under and they installed a pump in his ball sack. And so the doctor with his rubber gloves covered in blood is squeezing on this guy's balls and it's turning this guy's dick hard. And I'm like, what? Like that's what Liberace had apparently. He had one of them pumps. They put a pump like you're pumping your dick up with fluid. I guess there's like a fluid in there, and then you hit a button and it releases it, and your dick goes flaccid again. Wow. It's fucking bizarre. Yeah. The head doesn't get hard though. The head is like sort of halfway
floppy
soft.
thing at the top.
Yeah, like a floppy head. It didn't seem like I was disappointed.
That doesn't work. That kind of defeats the purpose.
No, it was strange, and there was all these other penis operations that I couldn't do it. I couldn't get into it.
Yep, that's the internet for you.
Yeah, you can go deep. All right, Daniele Bolelli, thank you very much, sir. Your book, Not Afraid, it is out right now. Daniele Bolelli, author also of Create Your Own Religion, History on Fire podcast, D. Bolelli, Bolelli on Twitter. Thank you, my brother. Always good time chatting with you. All right, fuckers, we'll be back tomorrow with Kyle Kingsbury, former UFC fighter, all-around great guy, and fanny pack enthusiast. He'll be here tomorrow. See you. Bye-bye.